Happy New Year's Eve, and welcome to the show. Do you have big plans tonight? I don't. I don't have big plans. I haven't actually celebrated New Year's Eve in a long time. Not that I wouldn't. They're just where I'm at and what's going on where I live. It's just, there's really not much to do. But anyway, enough about me. Before we get started, let's take care of business, and we'll get into the discussion, because I'm curious. What do you think we have in store for 2020? I've got some ideas. We can look back at what's been happening at 2019 to see our future, and it's coming quick. So I'm really curious tonight to really chat with you guys and see what your thoughts are on all of this, see what you're thinking. So as I said, before we get to it, let's go ahead and take care of business first. Tell you about my sponsor, Noble Gold. More and more companies are struggling right now, and one casualty of this might be the 401k. American workers are finding their retirement money is being frozen and their plans being canceled. Finding your pension suddenly terminated isn't a great place to be, but it does give you a few options. You can withdraw your funds and get taxed a lot. If your workplace has gone out of business, but you have a new job, you can roll it over to your new employer, but you'll have all the same risks. Or you can put the money into your own personal IRA account, where it's your right to choose your own investment. With stock markets, property, and bonds looking rocky right now, precious metals, gold, and silver might be the way to go. Noble Gold are experts on precious metal IRAs. They've kept thousands of families safe when their futures were pulled from under them. So check the link below if you'd like to find out more about securing your Gold IRA. That's my sponsor, Noble Gold. All right, guys, let's go ahead and just jump into it. Let me jump over here to the chat first and see what's going on with you guys. Thanks for being here. Once again, welcome to the show. I'm not expecting it to be anything huge or massive. After making the movie, after putting all my focus into that the last few weeks, I don't feel like creating anything right now. And then after doing the show last night, I don't feel like doing a long show like that, covering different articles. I really just wanted to have some time to hang out with you guys and chat, because I've been away for a few weeks as well. And see your thoughts on things, give you a chance to kind of get involved in your own way. And I always learn so much from you guys as well. So how are you? Oh, let me go ahead and turn my volume off over here. So how are you guys, man? How is things? I've just jumped in over here into the chat. I see Hippie Mama. Hi, Pink Rain. Bo. What's up, Bo? Tamara. Hi, Tamara. V-Town, NorCal. Nicole. Stephen Truth Seeker, Ellen Hughes, Melissa Z, Christine. Hey, Christine Coleman, old friend. Private Death, another one. Taryn. Hey, Taryn, good to see you. Girl Interrupted. Hi, everybody. Welcome. What are you guys doing tonight? You guys actually going to go out and do anything? I can't remember when the last time I went out and actually celebrated New Year's Eve. I'm not sure. I know it's probably a few years ago, but I don't know, man. I'm just not one for that anyway. It's dangerous to be out in them streets. New Year's Eve really is. I'm still just kind of checking out the chat. So what do you guys think about, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link. If you'd like to, you guys can join, and we'll just kind of talk for a little bit. I'll try to give everybody, give you at least 10 minutes. But just give me your thoughts on, the new year. What are you expecting for 2020? I'll give you a couple of ideas, things I've seen. But this whole climate change thing, of course, that agenda is really heating up. No pun intended. Even here where I'm at, I was watching earlier, the local news, they're talking about downtown. They're having the big celebration. They're dropping the ball. Dropping the ball. But what was interesting is who's actually going to be pressing the button to drop the ball. It's a group of kids from a science class with a bunch of science teachers, and they're all going to be giving us a speech on climate change and global warming. So it's going to be a shame to miss that one. But again, just goes to show you, I'm in the Midwest, so it just goes to show you that conditioning, that programming is everywhere. I don't want to spoil anything. I've got some really good stuff on Greta Thunberg in my movie. Just exposes her. I mean, she's been exposed by many other people too. But this is This is some good stuff. And it just goes to show how much of a farce it is. We really are living in just a crazy reality TV show. It's insane. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that for sure. The climate stuff, global warming, because they're pushing for their Agenda 2030, which is different from Agenda 21. And I even put that in the movie as well, explaining the differences and stuff. But Agenda 2030 is more about the world, having the world connected. The Internet of Things is involved in this as well. Smart homes, everything connected. There was an article we just saw not long ago on the show is talking about that from here on out, all products, everything new that's being created is going to be able to be connected to the Internet of Things. That's everything. So I know we'll be seeing a lot more of that as well. So there's a couple things you can run with, but let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and let me see. Where is this? I'm going to get the invite here, and I'll put this link in the chat. And I'm curious to see what you guys think. What are some of your predictions, some of your thoughts on what 2020 is going to be looking like? All right. So here we go. I'll drop the link in right now. If you've never done this before, I've done this a few times. Again, I really felt like this would be fun tonight just to hang out and talk to you guys. But you won't be on camera, so don't worry about that. And, you know, feel free to jump in. No pressure. And don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Feel free to jump in. And just let us know, or anything in general, you know, what stands out to you from 2019. For me, the one thing that stands out the most for me in 2019 was the massive amounts of footage that I saw throughout the year of UFOs. And it, you know, the specific type of UFOs, the plasma creatures or the interdimensionals, not aliens, the demons, interdimensional demons, shapeshifters. I've seen a lot of that. More so this last year than I've seen before, and good captures of these things. So that's definitely been on the rise. Hey, I got somebody in here. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link one more time. And just come in as you like, guys. So let me see. I'll go ahead and do this. Hey, Jameson, how you doing, man? Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Yes, thank you.
Good. Do I come in okay and clear, or is any background or anything?
Perfectly clear.
Okay, great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing really great. I'm thrilled to be on with you. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah, so 2020, I think we're going to see the technology just be taking over people's minds. As great as it is that we can communicate through the technology, we're always being monitored, and it's like a chess game. They're watching how we move, and then they counter move with more takeover, you know. So as much as the technology is great, it kind of worries me that eventually it's going to the mark of the beast technology, and biblical prophecy is still real regardless of how long it's taking for the game to play out, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was just a news story. I think it was from Georgia, and I saw it earlier today, and it just came out over the last 24 hours of a guy that willingly put a chip in his hand, and it was showing how he can open the door to his Tesla and how awesome it is. So it's coming, man. You know, it's coming. I don't want to say it's coming. It's here. And now it's just conditioning the people, you know?
Yeah, truly. Even with 5G, it makes you wonder, you know, how much can technology actually control our emotions? You look at the chemtrail spraying and just upping the game every little bit. It's this progressive inching. It's, you know, like the metaphor of the frog in the boiling water, where it
Oh,
starts
yeah.
at a temperature and then eventually you're getting cooked and you don't realize it, you know?
Yeah, man, that's so true. That's exactly how they've done it. And do you have trouble in real life, like with people you know, explaining any of this, or how awake are the people around you?
Oh, it's difficult. My family's like glued to MSNBC, and I'll walk in my parents' house and I'm like, God, you're just listening to this mind control. And then if I bring up biblical prophecy, it's like mocked, and it's like, oh, well, we don't believe in that. And, you know, and then I'm like, okay, you know, there may be truthful things to some of the new age spirituality stuff, but I think it's always used as a deception and always in denial of God's prophecy that he's shown the people, thousands of years ago. So
Oh,
it's
always.
it's
Yeah.
super difficult. But yeah, even I got two brothers, and one of them's kind of awake, and the other one's just going along with the corporate takeover modality, which is it's necessary if you want to get money. But it's so hard for me to find a job that doesn't conflict with my worldviews and my beliefs.
Man, I know. Have you ever, I mean, is there anything you really enjoy doing and you're gifted with that you could turn into something you could live off of?
I I've been thinking about that all day, as a matter of fact. But, I
Good.
mean, I'm good with words and I'm a good writer, and I keep asking myself, why don't I try to write a book or find an outlet and try to write about subjects that I'm interested in and find a publisher? And even if I don't make a whole lot of money, it would at least be a foot in the door. And a claim I could make is I'm a published author, or,
Yeah.
I'm aware of a lot of things. I'm really about researching the Jesuits and listening to different people like talk about some of this stuff where
Yeah.
I see it all happening, but then I'm like, do I want to fight that fight? I've experienced direct kickback from having too loud of a voice concerning like 9/11 truth and other things. And I've experienced harassment that's came back to my family, and members of my family have been contacted. And honestly, like, it's just pretty scary when you really attack what's going on. There's a kind of a secret force probably within the government that's kind of working against the people to keep people stupefied and scared of speaking out against what's going on.
Yeah, you nailed it, man. That's one of the actually main reasons I just made that movie. And it's for free. And it's because the way the internet's going now, I just wanted to have the full story, the best I could put together for people, to have it in one lump place so that people can take it, download it, share it in case something happens in the near future. Because this, again, I pray about everything. I'm very grateful I'm still here, and I take it day by day. But it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, I'm waiting for the next 9/11 to happen. And even as much faith as people put into Trump, you can also look at the fact that they say he's got the Templar seal in his family crest, and he might not have been a bought and paid for candidate by the corporations like what we have, but he's still not fighting the secret societies. And, he might just be putting off the inevitable. And even with the impeachment, it makes me think, this is a huge game being played out by these elites against the people, and the truth's never being exposed. And then who's to say what's going to happen next? War in some country, or war in this country, or a civil war for that matter. They're dividing the people so drastically with race and with politics. We're never told the ultimate truth that would unite everyone in order to fight back against the federal government. And I think they have the ultimate card in their deck, which is they can get away with anything, and whether or not they want to do it is just a matter of time.
Man, what's happening too with that, I believe, is that even with the sleepers, the people who are still asleep, it's coming a time where there'll be no more. It's not going to be blurry anymore. It'll be very clear. In fact, I'm really watching Virginia right now. Their militias are pulling together. The governor there, blackface governor, is wanting to take the guns, of course, and they're very vocal and outspoken about this. This isn't a conspiracy theory. So a lot of people have eyes on Virginia. So, that could be, where they test this out. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the National Guard will do. But, and like you say, they've been stoking the fires of racism and everything else, and sexism, change, even different sexes. Hey, they're confusing everybody. That's what they're doing. This. So it's
Very well. I know it's really disgusting to see what's happening in this world, and you almost have to go back to biblical prophecy and rely on these Christian viewpoints just to get an idea of what's going on in the game. I don't even call myself a Christian, but I put so much faith into what has been written and what's been shown, and I've used that model of Christianity and biblical prophecy to understand what's happening in our world, and it suits better than anything that I've found. It's not a
what
conspiracy. It's not just a conspiracy theory. It's a factual conspiracy.
I'm glad you've seen that truth. What is it that's holding you back from, going with Christ and everything? If you don't mind me asking, just curious.
Well, I'll just be brutally honest. I mean, I'm sure there was somebody, that Jesus is based on, who came to this world and shook up the Roman Empire power structure so badly that they had to kill him and make a religion out of it. But I see aspects of this astrotheology 12 disciples, 12 houses of the zodiac, the Son of God and the sun in the sky, and the analogy of Jesus being the sun in the sky. And it's, I don't let that stop me. I know ultimately when judgment comes, I know where I'm going because I'm fighting the right fight. And I don't ever speak out against Christianity, but I
That's
always have
cool.
those questions in my mind of I want to know the absolute truth and I want to understand completely. And even if there is deception, I know that I'll walk through it unscathed and go to heaven in the end. But it just makes you wonder how they can even use Christianity as a control mechanism and keep people in fear. And I don't know. I often wonder why I don't find a church. I just feel like nobody. I'm a big fan of Eric John Phelps, and that's the kind of preaching I want. I want somebody speaking out against the corruption of the government and against the corruption within the federal government. And I feel like any church is just taking that tax cut and they're subservient to the government. And
Yeah.
I'm looking for I need to find where I can go to actually have people who think like I do, because I'm looked at as a radical once I start opening my mouth.
Well, I love that you've got such a love of truth, and then my belief set is that will ultimately lead to Christ. On that note, you and I agree on a lot of things. I will say, though, I did a video years ago debunking all the astrotheology stuff, and I'm not alone. If you're curious, you can look into a lot of that. You'll find clear descriptions of things that you can see where people try to draw these parallels, and you can see it fully being debunked and exposed throughout. That's just, if you're curious, you can look that up, okay, for one. Number two, yeah, the church system, these aren't even real followers of Christ mostly for me. And I don't damn everyone in church because God knows your heart. I think there's a lot of good sheep, if you will, good people that really love God, and he sees their heart and their purity in these buildings. But yeah, most of this is Masonic. Of course, there's 30,000 denominations or something like that in America alone. So all these different dogmas and interpretations and rules. That's why I just try to, and I've gone through all that. That's why I'm speaking from experience. And I'm not a preacher, but I just say, hey, man, I believe in just have a simple relationship with God. I believe it is through the real Christ. His name's not even Jesus. We don't even know what he looks like, but that goes back to Rome. They
Right.
took it and they mutated it, right? So, but that's a whole other story. I could talk forever. I won't go there anymore, but I'll say this, man. I loved talking to you about this, Jameson, and thanks for having such an open mind and being real. And I do the same, man. I love it. I welcome it, and just keep on your path to truth. And, you'll find everything you need. I love your passion. You've already got a book in you. You said it, man. You can do it,
Thank you for saying that, man. When I hear your intellect and I hear you speak on your videos, you're an inspiration to me, but you're the kind of people who I try to find in this world. But I find them more through the internet than I do on a day-to-day basis. So maybe I do need to try to join a church and shake things up and try to get people down to their root essence and find out what they're made of. Just test their metal to see who's really along the same lines as I am of
That's
their
good.
commitment to the truth. But yeah, God bless you, my friend. I really love to hear you speak.
Hey, thanks, Jameson, man. Nice talking to you. And thanks again. Happy New Year to you. All right. And I'll talk to you later.
God bless you. Goodbye.
All right. Bye. All right. That was great, man. Next up, I got, sorry. I didn't mean to do that, Eel. I meant to open up for Theo, I think. Theo, are you there?
Hi, I'm here, KJ. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
man. Yes, sir. How are you?
Hi, I talked to you, I guess a couple of months ago when you had about the dreams, the one about the dreams. I called in. I was the old guy.
I remember you.
I was a whippersnapper compared to some of the fellas that called.
Hey, that's all right. I'm catching up to you.
Have a little cold here, so I'm doing the best I can. But
okay,
really love your work. I can't wait to see your movie. I've seen the old one; it was really fantastic, of course, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to this new one, the scariest movie ever. Is it the scariest movie ever made 2?
I'm just calling it 2020, and this one's about 3.5 hours long. It's a little longer than the other one. I know, man. That was actually my concern. I was like, who's going to watch something like, but then every time I went back and did editing, I was like, there's things I have to keep in. So it's from 9/11 to now, man. But anyway, thank you. I can't wait to show it to you guys.
I'm glad you've kept all the information in. I have to say, I'm a big fan of Truth Stream Media.
Yeah.
They had The Minds of Men, was an incredible documentary. I got their DVD. It was very, very long also. But even though it was maybe a little hard process, I had to take it in chunks. It was well worth it. And you know, this I look forward to in the same vein. Even though it's long, even if I got to watch it in pieces, I'm going to enjoy it every minute. It's
good. Thanks.
looking forward. Love the intro you put out too.
Thanks, man. Oh, that's just it's bonkers. You guys will see. I can't wait till you see it, man. But thank you. So what's going on with you, man? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was very interested. Very interesting with the last young man that was on there. What a sharp guy!
Right?
He's got so much going on and a heart for truth. You got to love that. And I guess my prayer for him is that he finds out and realizes that truth ultimately is embodied in a person, in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. And Jesus is more than a historic. I found he's more of a historical figure. I have had encounter with him, and many people have. Not like I've seen him and touched him or anything like that, but it's like if you were in a room that was dark and someone came in that you knew and loved, you would know they were there. It's like that, you know, and we know somebody, is there even without all the tactile and the auditory and seeing them, you know. So I can't wait to see him, but at the same time, I know he's there. And, you know, there are times that he is just there with you, you know. And
yeah, have you had those moments where it was so powerful it literally made you cry?
Yes, and that's now I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Like the old, you know, hymn, I walk in the garden alone, and it's there that I meet with him, you know, that old hymn. I forget all the words, but yeah, it's like that. It brings tears to the eyes. And sometimes you read the Bible, which, yeah, it's a document written by men, but there is a true inspiration in it that is something I can't explain. And you feel truth coming through to you from that. And it's quite an amazing thing. Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I have recently been introduced to some of the writings and ideas of Michael Heiser, who is a theological expert and a scholar about biblical things. And I don't know, he wrote the book. Oh darn it! Well, Supernatural is one of the books he wrote. Also, The Unseen Realm.
Okay, that's where I've heard of him. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I have heard of him. Go ahead.
He has some very good ideas. I think he is very much part of the responsible idea of where some of the new information is coming from about the giants, the Nephilim, and all this kind of thing, the Watchers. I think he has a lot to do with that. And he basically takes scholarship that is happening in colleges and seminaries and so forth, studies of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the writings of Qumran and things like that, and making that scholarship available to real, you know, ordinary people like me, you know, and to lay people. And it's very interesting, and I'm very glad for it. And I think, you know, that stuff was hid away for millennia, you know, for thousands of years, and was only recently discovered, you know, in the last century or so. And it does put me in mind very much of how God, you know, in the scripture said there were certain prophecies that were to be put away and will be revealed in the end times.
Yeah, that is exactly it. It's part of the revealing, you know, right? It's a part of apocalypse. Everything's being revealed, and they found. I need to do a new video on that because I did one several years ago on the ancient gods returning for Armageddon, I called it. But it was how all these biblical discoveries are taking place. They're finding, you know, statues underwater of, you know, different gods and stuff. It's very interesting.
Wow. I know there's definitely a movement afoot. You can see it even in movies and things like you reveal a lot of your analysis that you do, and many others. People like Jay Dyer, I think, does some good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Enter the Stars and some of these guys, you know, people you've had on your, you know, show too. And it really it's interesting, you know, all the work that you all do to reveal how there is some sort of I call it, say, Illuminati or some sort of cabal that is revealing their Luciferian intentions of bringing back the Watchers, bringing back these entities and fallen beings that have caused so much havoc in our world.
Yeah,
And
that's why for 2020 it'll be good to keep an eye on Antarctica as well. There's been so many strange stories out of there. Steve Quell talks a lot about that too, I think.
Yeah. I know I just saw one of the Avengers movies, and it was one of the ones a few years back, but it was interesting. They had a demonic-like being that came, and he had a special tube that came out of the sky, which really reminded me of the pit in Apollyon, you know, in the book of Revelations. And he opened it up, and out of it came locust flying beings, you know, that havoc on the earth. I thought, good grief, they're reading Revelations to write this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And he wanted to change the earth into, you know, his evil domain. And of course he was thwarted, thank goodness. But boy, it's you know, they're trying to tell you what's happening. And
well, Thanos is all about depopulation, you know, and that's a big part of climate change, so to speak, that agenda, you know.
Thanos, that guy, I know the whole depopulation agenda, and
right, good guy that had to do a bad thing, right? But he did it for everybody, and that's how they portray all these people that do this stuff, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
There was that movie, I can't remember what it's called. It's about a bunch of secret agents, kind of like James Bond type people. It was a British movie. But did you ever see and they had a church sequence where this secret agent got triggered and killed all these people in a Southern Baptist church for like 5 minutes.
And
did you see that one?
Yeah, and they made it seem like all the people in the church were all like evil, you know, closed-minded, bad Christians or something, and they had to kill them all. Yeah, that was just bizarre. And
it was Kingsman, and even in that movie, the main bad guy, Samuel L. Jackson, it was all about Mother Earth, Gaia, right? They had to depopulate and get rid of some people, and I also think that's the one where they took the kid into the agency, and I think they said they found him after he submitted a DNA thing to find out his family heritage. It was either that movie or another one, but yeah, so that's
I'll have to check that out again. It's interesting, you know, and with the depopulation and the environmental agenda, which is based on fallacious junk science. Now, I'm not saying things aren't happening in the environment, there aren't changes, but you know, there's a lot of science out there showing that it is not necessarily due to man-made carbon dioxide, but you never get to hear that. They shut these people down. But you know, it's interesting that you know they're hyping on this stuff, you know, environmental stuff, you know, and trying to. It's more of a political agenda, I believe, than real science.
It definitely is.
First of all, astrophysicists, especially planetary scientists, I've heard them talking, even on NPR. I heard this a year or two ago. They were talking about trying to find the 9th planet or the 10th planet, or whichever you view it as, but another planet. And the idea is, could it be a red dwarf or something like that? Not a red dwarf, a brown dwarf, you know, or something that, you know, we can't see, but they think there's something out there. And I wonder if there's just something affecting the sun, because I'm, like I say, I'm an old guy, and I remember when I was a kid 50 years ago, the sun had a warm yellowness to it. It was bright and warm and could burn you, but it was yellowish. And now it is silver white. On a clear blue day, you look up at the sun and it's a silver white. It is not yellow anymore. It has a greater intensity to it. I think part of the global warming is this sun is changing, and it is, you know, it's affecting the earth in a way that is causing this warm up, and it's been happening a while. But
or what if it's all just those sheets and sheets of nano and aluminum and barium? You know what I mean?
Could be too. Now, one thing, however, is to notice that the planetary scientists are noticing that global warming is happening across our solar system. Mars appeared to be having clouds and different things happening in the atmosphere. There was one phenomenon that happened it was sometime in the past year that looked for it looked like a volcano went off on Mars. So increased volcanic activity, which can happen as a result of radiation from space, whether from the sun or deep space, radiation affects the inner Earth and can cause an increase in volcanic activity. And we've seen that. Mars, the moons of Saturn have changed and have become more active volcanically. I think it was Neptune. They had pictures of Neptune up. You can find them on the internet, where for over a 6-year period up to about, I think, 2006 or 7, you could see Neptune becoming brighter and brighter and warming up, as if something were nearing our solar system that was warming this planet up.
Man, that
clouds.
That makes me think about the story last night I covered on that they're saying the poles are shifting so quickly, scientists don't even know what to make of it. And that was a mainstream story. So yeah, maybe, maybe it's coming close, I guess some may say that's, tribulation and preparation, maybe, who knows,
And however you want to look at it, from the most even from a non-Christian point of view, from a non-religious point of view,
right,
scientifically, something is happening to the sun and from space, and it appears that there are efforts to quiet that information down. This thing about Neptune, I told you, they shut that down. So the pictures after about 2006 and all, you couldn't find them anymore.
Oh, interesting.
They shut down that whole thing with the solar observatory, a year or so ago, a year or two ago, in Arizona, in Snowflake, Arizona, I think it was, that the solar observatory got shut down for a couple of weeks. And that was all very mysterious. And there seemed to be some unusual sightings of something moving in front of the sun.
Oh, yeah.
They said it was the moon, but it was kind of moving in a way the moon might not. And they said, ultimately, oh, yeah, we had to shut down the solar observatory, the post office, the whole town that it was in, and we had to send Black Hawk helicopters out there and FBI agents because the janitor downloaded kiddie porn. So that was the reason for all that.
Yeah, that's like when they launched the alert for a nuclear weapon from Hawaii, and they had some lame excuse, right?
Yeah, that was very interesting. Yes. So there's strange things, and they're trying to quiet it down. I've been watching a channel called the Higher Truth Channel. I hate to plug another channel. I'm sorry.
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. It's fine.
But he's the guy is trying to be very incognito, and he's been shut down and given trouble from YouTube a number of times as well, But he's very scientific. He has an extensive knowledge of science and astrophysics, and he seems to be like he's a atmospheric scientist. And he's been talking about the solar radiation increasing and so forth, and how they have changed figures that have been online for years to kind of hide the effects that the sun is warming up. Now, I do believe the sun warming up thing is probably a natural cycle. It's not the end of the world necessarily from that, but they're using instead this global warming thing to mask it, and also as a political tool, because that way, you can't make carbon dioxide. We need to tax you, with carbon taxes. Of course, the carbon taxes is a way to have carbon taxes. You have to have an international, like an IRS. In other words, it's a push for a world government. That's the only way they can enforce that. And I think it's just an excuse to enforce a world government, which we know could be trouble.
Yeah, that's part of Agenda 2030 as well. So it's on the way, man. But, well, man, those are all great points, Theo. It's always nice chatting with you. Is there anything else you wanted to cover with us?
Not much, except I'll just say this. I think, getting close to the Lord and being close to God is the most important thing to make our way through all this. Preparing and all that, that's all good too. But preparing our souls and our spirits with the one true God is the most important thing. So that's all I'll say.
That's a great way to leave us, and not to live in fear, of course. That's great, man. Theo, thanks so much, man. Nice talking to you again, and have a great new year, okay?
You too. Great talking to you. God bless. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. And for everyone waiting, thanks for your patience, guys. I'm getting to you. Just going right down the list. Trying to give everyone a good 10 minutes or so. You know, I'm not trying to keep it short or anything, but just, you know, I used to just I've done some shows where I let it roll and it was like 7 hours later. You know what I mean? So I've got to, and you know, I'll drop the link again. I know some other people are wanting to jump in. I've got Eel on the line here. Eel, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right, KJ. How you doing?
Doing good. That's a cool name.
Yeah, it's just my like actual name backwards. My name's Charles, so Charlie kind of said backwards is Eel Rosh. I kind of got into that weird backmasking stuff for a little bit.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's some crazy. Well, there's Obama's Yes We Can, which is one of the classics.
That's actually like what kind of like got me re-interested in it. I mean, because I've heard all the stuff with like, you know, music like the Beatles, is that like Led Zeppelin, even like Britney Spears and who knows, like Missy Elliott. But you know, like that whole Obama thing, I was like, hold on, let me check that out. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting there on like a little recorder app, just saying random things, spending like hours doing it. Like, okay, I've had enough fun with that.
Yeah.
But
so what's going on with you, man? How was your 2019?
I mean, not too bad, you know, typical year. I've been working for about 5 years straight now. So, you know, just celebrating another full year of successful employment and getting ready to start off another one.
Yeah, that's worthy of celebrating nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. And it's funny how so many people like actually complain about their jobs. You know, I know they're not all great. There's millions of them that suck. But, I mean, you chose it. You put yourself there. And outside of that, there's a lot of people that complain that make like good money. So, you know. The employment world's weird.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't want to like change subjects, but you know, the previous gentleman, he had touched on the fact that he was on I guess he called in on your dream show that you did about a month or so out ago. And I must have just like not heard correctly or something, but I didn't know it was an online call-in because I mean, like I said, I'm working and all, but I don't have my phone actually active right now. So I was like, damn, you know, I'd really love to call on the show and da-da-da. So I was just listening. But if you wouldn't mind, I would actually kind of like to touch on like the previous, I think, call-in you had before the dreams. It was like, you know, supernatural encounters, experiences, stuff like that, paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Well, because previously I'd asked the question. It was like, I know you're not supposed to be like a fanatic and get all super excited about trivial stuff like that, but I'd like posted so many questions in the past, and it's just like you get thousands of them, and it's hard to even go over 10 of them. But you'd got to one, and I was like, oh man, like hell yeah, you know, I was excited. But like I said, I never called in on your supernatural like paranormal show, and like I said, if I could, I'd like to share a personal experience. That's it's a little out there.
Oh hey, you're in the right place, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I work in reverse. Now, that's got me in trouble a few times, but I mean, I'd rather take those chances. But my thing is, if someone's got a story where they're afraid to tell someone because they think it's too weird, I start with let's believe, let them say believe, and then I work my way backwards, you know? So go ahead.
All right. All right. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just kind of like jump into it somehow.
Sure, man. No worries.
It's weird. It kind of involves like the whole like blood contract thing.
Yeah, I know. I've heard all about that, man. I had some creepies on YouTube that are in the it's blood over intent stuff, and they were coming at me kind of crazy. But I'm familiar with it. But go ahead.
Well, this was like way before that got popular, but I know what you're talking about. And I've seen like hundreds of videos. People are just posting doing that crap, and it's like, you know, this is like online rituals right now. Y'all better be careful.
Seriously, man.
Like, it's pretty nuts, but
it's crazy.
Mine's like a more like cheesy and corny reason. You know, I think to an extent, a lot of young males have had like those rock star dreams and stuff like that. But say you never get around to them. But anyways, back when those damned Guitar Hero and Rock Band games were real cool, me and my buddies would hang out like all the time and just play that stuff religiously. Well, then it gets weird. Like I started thinking like, oh man, like I'm a rambler too. I had someone give me a journal like around that time frame. They're like, man, you just need to put a lot of your thoughts down on paper and stuff like that. I thought at the time, like maybe it was just a polite way of them telling me to like shut up. But so I started doing that. You know, I'd like not do journal entries, but random things like I guess you can consider it poetry or even like own little personal sayings that I was just trying to come up with, this random stuff. Well, then one night I got I just wanted to, I guess, like try to enhance this vision or something like that, and I started like writing out that whole soul binding contract, and like I didn't sell my soul loose for like a few of my friends that I've told about or told this story to. They're all like, "Oh man, you sold your soul to the devil," and I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't," but I kind of like maybe think I did, because
have you tried to reverse it or anything?
See, that's the thing. I don't know how to go about that. Like, unless you were like find like a really high ranking priest or something like that and do the whole exorcism or.
Man, you know, it's crazy. Like, and this is something I've been looking into here. It's not crazy. It's what's up. But the Bible even tells us, man, that people that have the Holy Spirit, right, that have accepted Christ, have 9 manifestations of the Holy Spirit within them. And one of them is to be able to exorcise demons. And movies have conditioned us to think that it takes some dramatic Catholic priest thing. Now, they do it, and they do all the things they do. But I don't think that's the only way. We've been conditioned to think that. So if you can only find some people near you, I'm just giving you ideas, man. I don't know. But
I've heard someone say something like maybe you should talk to like a shaman or something like that. But it's just like, where do you even find like a real shaman nowadays? Like,
yeah, that's tough, you know, and I know what you mean. I mean, I'm talking like, and this is, some people get upset when I mention this stuff, but I'm talking like Christian mystics and things like this, you know, so when it comes to those kinds of people, though, what I believe is if you pray about God to help you with something, that you will find your teacher. You know, the student will find the teacher. God will have somebody that, you know, for you that's with him. You know, it's not
one of those like self-finding journey types.
Yeah, I really think so, man. And I would say I would roll with it, trust in him, and just, you know that. And when it happens, when you meet the person or whatever, you'll probably be like, "Oh, wait, this just happens." You know, I mean, that's. I'm just saying, man. That's my experience.
I mean, like certain encounters definitely and experiences like will really like stand out to you. But well, like, anyway, like, well, what happened was, like I was saying, I was writing that whole contract thing, and it was cheesy. I was all like, you know, I'd really like to just somehow enhance my like musical capabilities at like a faster rate than just practice, you know, in blood, sweat, and tears. And I wrote out this contract. Then I like said I give my soul to like, I just put like a blank line because I was like, no, I'm not selling my soul to the devil, but I'll just throw it out there. And it's like, no, you kind of probably just put your soul right in the devil's hands. But you know, and I pricked my finger and I signed it with blood and the whole 9. And well, then like I had a weird idea. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go outside and burn it. Which I've had someone say like that solidified the contract. Like as soon as you put fire to it, it was like boom, and it like went to that other dimension, so to say. Well, then after this happens, it was about a week later. You know, the night in particular I'm talking about, I will go ahead and say I was smoking, you know, a little bit of the left-handed cigarettes, and me and my buddy were having some beers. But neither one of those are like hallucinogenics unless you get like way too, you know, like crap-faced, and maybe you might, you know, see some, but you're probably already blackout drunk, so you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Anyways, me and my buddy were just having, you know, a good old time. And well, then it starts raining. We're hanging out outside, like, you know, real loser stuff, hanging out behind some shopping centers, pounding beers and stuff. But you know, we always cleaned up after ourselves, I will say that. But anyways, it started raining. So he's like, oh man, let's just go ahead and just like hightail it to my neighborhood because it's only like 2 blocks away. We'll go sit on his porch. He had an overhang and stay dry. So we hightail it over there and continue our festivities and whatnot. Well, then, like, just let's say it's about an hour and a half or so after we get to the my friend's porch. Like, I go to like crack open a new beer, and as soon as I like tilt back to sip it, like out of the corner of my eye, I see like this white light, and then before I knew it, it was like vroom, like hitting me like in the face, like it was like the size of a softball, and like I jump back, I yell, "What the F?" You know, like beer flies everywhere, and my buddy just busts out laughing, and like in that split moment or split second, I'm like, you know, if I just saw my friend do that out of nowhere, presumably, I would probably have the same reaction. I'll laugh, like, what the hell, dude? Like, what was that all about? But then I started getting real nervous because of what I just saw. So I'm like internalizing everything, and it's like my mind is, for a lame expression, my mind was blown, and like thoughts are racing, and I'm like, why does he keep laughing? And like 2 minutes would go by, he'd stop laughing, and I still haven't said nothing. And he would stop laughing, and I would get ready to ask him a question, and he would start hysterically laughing again. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So then, like, after about 5 minutes of laughter, on and off laughter from this guy, he was like, dude, I saw it. And I was like, oh my God. Now my mind's like racing even harder and my heart's pounding. I'm like, wait a second. Like, so that wasn't like some just random thing or like figment of my imagination, da da da. And so yeah, that's kind of basically it. But you know, the whole like,
is that the weirdest thing that happened since you did the contract or what?
Well, I mean, that whole experience itself kind of was, well, yeah, but I mean, since then, I had a great idea. I'm going to join the Army, and I did it a successful 2 out of 3 years, and kind of had a falling out.
Oh yeah,
that was
in the military too. So did you have to get out early or something?
Well,
it's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to.
On like the whole situation or whatnot, but you know, they say loose fur comes in the form of light and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, I really thought it was something holy and good. And then I've had people say, like, you know, it's all about what you make of it. It's just like, I don't know what to make of it. What would you make of something like that? Like, how do you just throw like an orb of light at somebody? And, you know, you're like, man, there had to be like some kind of sentient being behind that, or, you know, there's definitely intelligence behind it and all. And then, like I said, it was only a week, like 7 full days after I did that weird contract. But the reason why I got out of the military is I had gotten into a bad relationship.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
yeah. That's a long. Yeah, that's a different story.
Well, man, I'm glad you shared that. I mean, I'll say this, you know, just to always remember that nothing can separate us from the love of God. Not even the lie when these people are lied to and they sign these stupid contracts and things like that. You know, I believe that nothing will really separate you unless you, again, I'm not signing the contracts. I don't know what they are, but the big sin is to blaspheme the Holy Spirit, to completely turn your back on God. But, you know, for those people who feel completely, Oh, good.
I definitely haven't done that. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I don't really know how to like properly give your life to Christ. Like, I mean, I want to say I tried last winter, and it felt like really good when I was doing it. Like, I just had a weird moment in my driveway, and there's snow on the ground, and I don't know, like, just all said, like, there's a lot of bad stuff's kind of happened here and there, and then like a lot of it's my own personal decisions. But I was like, you know, I just need to give my life over to Christ, and man. Like how successful it was, but like you mentioned and many others, it's an ongoing, you know, like battle, so to say. Like, you can't like ever quit once you do, and I feel like I don't want to be on again, off again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you've got it right. I mean, the best thing I would say to do, I mean, the easiest way is, and you don't have to do it in public or here. You can do it anytime. Do it right after we're done here, if you like, or you can do it now if you want. But all you have to do is say, you know, Jesus, I accept you as my personal Lord and Savior. You know, I accept you for the sacrifice you made for my sins. And from there, that's basically it. You know, from there, you try to repent of your sins. I say try because it's not easy. Sometimes it's a lifetime for certain things, but it's all part of the process of just trying to become more godly. And the other side of that is that you're not doing it because there's a hateful, angry God up in the sky, crossed his arms, looking down at you like, I see everything you're doing. No, it's because as you grow with Christ, once you accept Christ, once you have the Holy Spirit, and once you start learning about all the amazing things God really has done for us in our lives, man, that's when you realize, wow, I'm wretched. I mean, we realize it, you know, we're sinful. Our flesh is sinful, and we feed it all the time. It's like, you know, which part of you are we feeding the most? Are we feeding the light? Or are we feeding the wolf? You know, that's what it comes down to. And we all struggle with it. But get in the game, man. Definitely accept him. You know, I'm not a preacher, but I just hope as a follower of Christ,
too embarrassed to do it live with you guys, but I might do it like you recommended after the call.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Do it real privately. Yeah.
And you know, and then I was raised in a traditional religion and church and everything. If you're interested, you can look into going in. If you want to do something public, find a nice church and get baptized in the water. You know, that's just something I was raised in. You know. So, you know, Jesus was baptized in the water too. So I don't see like I don't think it's something you have to do, but a lot of people like to do it. You know, it's a nice public display.
Maybe more or less just for like the actual, the actual physical experience of it.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I understand that aspect for sure.
Right. So anyway, man, hey, well, it's nice talking to you, man. And I hope some of this stuff helps. You know, I really appreciate your honesty with me, and you know, have a great new year, man. Good luck to you. Okay.
I totally appreciate it, KJ, and you know, maybe I'll get another question or call in sometime in the future, brother. But until then, you have a great year, and you definitely have you know, subscriber as long as you're on with this guy.
Thanks, man. Hey, take care, and I look forward to talking to you again. See you later, man. All right, guys, I'm going to move on down here to Steven. Hi,
hey,
Steven.
Hey, KJ.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. Listening to everybody and checking stuff out on YouTube on my other device.
Yeah, isn't it nice? It's always good to have such a mix. That's what I love, is the audience is so diverse, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, you got to hear everybody's side, but the truth wins out in the end, right?
Yes, sir. Let's hope. No, we know it will. It definitely takes a lot of hits. The truth is taking a lot of hits now. It's just crazy how it's all playing out. And, you know, it's, again, being fresh off making the movie and looking at all the things I had to look at to create this,
cool.
It's just, wow, you know?
Yeah.
Like, wow, here we are, you know? And, you know, again, it's not coming. We're just right on the precipice, and we're already seeing so many strange signs. And, you know, and like I say, every time I start talking about it, I always throw in the disclaimer, but, you know, we still have to live here. You know, I still live in this world, and I'm not freaking out, and I'm not worried. It's just good to be aware. And frankly, you know, for me, signs of the times are positive. I'm not afraid of it. It's like, cool, man, let's roll. You know, I'm ready for the next chapter. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, what you're saying. I like to move on to things too, you know, but it seems like, you know, our patience is really being tested.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, nothing to be sorry about, man. I appreciate you doing this type of stuff. I mean, like, I love interacting. I don't know how people watch TV. It sucks because all you're doing is just listening to a program. People, you know, these programs program your mind with nothing but nonsense mostly. But, you know, like, this interaction is great on YouTube. I love it, man.
I do too. That's why I like to do these. And I thought tonight would be a great night to do one and just, you know.
We're learning stuff from each other too, man. You can't learn from sitting in front of a TV. Very rarely. Even documentaries really are skewed.
Well, you know, they did a study in the 1950s. I can't remember the name of it. Y'all could look it up online if you like. Yeah. They took two boys, I think they were around 10 years old. They put them in two different rooms, and they put electrodes on their heads. One kid was watching, one kid's watching a television set. The other kid's watching a freaking wall for like 20 minutes. And they showed the examples of, yeah, the kid watching the wall, man. I mean, tons of action taking place in his brain. The kid watching the TV, hardly anything, you know?
I once was, you know, I was going through a tough time back in 2005. And I went into this program to try to straighten my life out from the Band-Aids, the drinking, the drugs, the this and that. I wanted to.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask you about your Band-Aids too, but go ahead.
I wasn't trying to, you know, get into all that, but it just reminded me of. You said the guy was staring at a wall. Well, anyway, what they would do things to punish you in this place. Now, I volunteered to go into this place to clean up my act, to help me, you know, somewhat get some discipline in my life. Well, you don't really get discipline, you get abused. And like people like telling me go sweep the parking lot. When I wouldn't listen to that, I would rebel against them. And then one time they told me to sit in front of a clock, you know, stand in front of a clock. And I didn't want to go along with these zombies, I would call them. They would just, I don't like these people. I want to, you know, just, they're uninteresting to me. They're not intelligent. Most masses are not intelligent. Our country is falling with the education to number like 40 something in the world.
Yeah. I just saw a story last night where China's outdone us by like 21 points, which is huge.
Exactly. So I told the guy, well, I'm standing in front. He goes, do you want to come in and be with us now? I said, you know what? I kind of find this clock more interesting than any of you. You know, like I was just like, you people are stupid, man. I want to be around you. That clock is actually more interesting to me than you.
You might be an INFP personality. Do you enjoy spending a lot of time alone and thinking?
Well, it's not that. There's dating sites now, so I could talk to women. I could get their phone numbers and I talk to them and I go visit them all over the place in New York. I'll go to Pennsylvania. I went to New Hampshire. You know, I'm always traveling. And thank God nothing has happened to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be careful.
But I believe God is always watching over me. He knows I have a good heart. And I'm not saying people don't suffer and stuff. I've suffered plenty. But I'm just saying you got to take a chance in life, because I see what the future is going to be. You guys talk about sustainable development. You talk about, you know, like chemtrails. I see plenty of that crap going on. I hear about the UN hiring people in New York City. I wrote down, you know, about Virginia State. I was jumping on a bandwagon with that, and I think that is a battleground.
Yeah, man, a testing ground.
Yes, absolutely. So, like, I mean, I'm ready to join in. If I see that the red flag goes up, I know when to do it. When shit's gonna really start hitting the fan, and I know I have to fight for my life, I'm gonna join in something. But I have to be very smart about it, because some of these militias are infiltrated by traitors. We have to be careful, because even Jesus was betrayed by Judas. So believe me, we don't think that the government, you know, has done, and the FBI, the CIA, they infiltrate everything. Churches, schools, everything. And our government has been infiltrated by Zionists and Freemasons and all kinds of occultists. You know, I mean, Trump has, you know, like the Greek gods or whatever he has on his ceiling, and his, you know, he does the 666 sign. All of these guys are all involved in this stuff. The crystal ball has pyramid shapes. You know,
yeah, you can watch the impeachment thing the Democrats were doing in the Congress. And if you look at the podium, it's got a huge devil face on it. Y'all can go look it up right now. And look at the some of the footage from the impeachment. Look at their podium, and there's a massive devil face right there.
They are not holding KJ. They are not holding back. They are showing. They got video games with devil faces on. They even call it Red Devil. One side of it says Red Devil, and the other one says Red Dragon. And we talk about Revelation, the Red Dragon, right? He says the Red Dragon, that old serpent, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, it's all conditioning. I mean, look at, again, just the obvious, like Lucifer. People love it. Go look at a trailer or a clip from Lucifer and read the comments. And, yeah, people love it, you know? So,
oh, yeah.
There was
those people are going to go to the gates of hell. These people are leading them. They don't realize what's going on. I mean, like, maybe I should go out there and preach or something like that, but I don't know.
You know, he'll lead you, man. I really believe that. You pray, you seem like a guy that prays, man. You know, God will lead you to it, because, you know, when we get involved, it gets messy. Yeah. I've done that my whole life with my work. You know, when I start doing stuff I don't feel I'm led to do, it doesn't work out good. So, you know, it's just, he leads us, and, you know, I'm sure he'll lead you, because you got the heart and the passion for it. Maybe it's in your music someday or something, you know.
Well, I do sing and play or write original music. And the next thing was talking about the moon. Did anybody, I mean, people have been saying comments. I was on W7, I put a comment there. I got like 86 likes, and people were definitely saying, you know, that they saw what I saw. I saw the moon. There was like a very, very small little sliver, like a hair sliver of the moon shining. And then above it was I thought it was a star, but actually somebody in my video sent me, and it said it was Venus. And I was like, anybody see that was Venus on top of the moon? You know, when you're looking straight at the moon, on top there was a bright, and it was Venus. So a lot of weird stuff is going on, you know?
Yeah, man, it really is. I mean, from top to bottom. I got a story up last night where there's the strange trumpet sounds are back again in the air.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's weird.
It really is, because I believe some of these. I remember I was around back 2013, 14 when these started, right? And man, so yeah, it's just from top to bottom, it's crazy. But I love watching it. You know, that's the thing. I enjoy doing this, and I don't get all doomed. That's the other thing. Going through all the things for the movie, I saw it's all a presentation, man. You know, you have to be calm and cool about this kind of stuff, because you don't want to be an agitator. It's easy to get people's blood pressure up over this stuff and make them make a mistake. You know what I mean?
You heard of Trader Joe's, right?
Oh, man, I used to love it when I lived in LA. I went there all the time. But why? Is there something bad about it?
No, not at all. What happened was I was coming out of a Trader Joe's, and there was this guy, and I didn't like him. He said something about my bike, like a couple of months before, and then I dropped my glove, and he's putting the pressure on me. Get out of the way! And he's like the attendant. He's like the parking lot attendant. So I flipped out with my cursing mouth, like an idiot, like a stupid New Yorker, come from the hood, start cursing the guy out, and he started cursing me out. I say, "You serious, bro? You're gonna get in an argument and start cursing me out too?" I said. So I went to the manager. Anyway, one thing led to another. As soon as I said the word "my country," all of these people surrounded me. They wanted to beat the hell out of me.
Oh my gosh.
Surprised. I was like, holy cow. I said, this guy's telling me, whatever it was. I don't want to go into all details, but what I'm saying is you say the wrong word. This is why we have to be careful. And a few guys have been talking about that. I think the couple of callers before that, or maybe 3 callers before, which he sounded like me. That's what I was saying. God, I was like the first guy. That guy sounded like I thought I was listening to myself. I'm serious. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I've stayed on the low all these years without showing myself. But we're getting into a point where, and I've been like making the movie was the first move for me, but I want to start doing bigger things, and I may even start doing conventions to where we can meet, and I can.
That would be cool.
Show y'all things in real life, like on a screen or something. I think it'd be fun, but I may have to do that, man. You know what I mean? Like it may just. We need to, start bringing people together a little more, and we'll see. I don't know. I'm in it. I'm praying about it, man.
KJ, I'm telling you, that sounds like a great idea. I'd be into that stuff too. But the thing is, I'm worried about, not that I'm worried about, I'm concerned, because I don't want to say I'm worried. That's the wrong word. But I'm concerned in the sense that we have to be. The Bible says, I try to take scriptures and I play them in my mind. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. And to me, knowledge is the Noahide laws. With the Noahide laws coming and the anti-Semitic laws that they're propagating, they're making this whole thing about Jews are getting attacked and all this stuff. Now, listen, I'm not against Jews. What I am against is lies that the Freemasons and these Antichrist Satanists from the Babylonian Talmud, the Talmud.
Of course.
Right. So the whole thing is, this is what it's all about. They're jumping on a bandwagon saying they're Jews, but they're not. They're the synagogue of Satan. And you say that on certain comments, it'll shut me off. The algorithms of GoogleTube will just take it right off. You can't say certain things now. It's getting more strict.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible, man. That's why I said last night on the show, if you're trying to find anything on YouTube controversial, I go to DuckDuckGo, and in that search engine, I put the term and then YouTube, and then I'll find a list of everything I want. That's the best way. You know what I mean? Yeah, it actually works. And I was also going to say too, I actually lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and used to take the L train to work a long time ago. I loved it out there, man. Just saying.
Yeah, it was cool. It's a scene, man. It's still a scene. You can play music, but like it's gotten strict where they only let you play one song. I'm not going to ride out there for an hour just to play one song. So
is there Antifa and stuff out there in Brooklyn now? Is any of that kind of crap taken over?
About that? I haven't been out there in years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, KJ, I haven't been out there in years, so I couldn't tell you if that. But I'll tell you, like anywhere you go can be a potential. Things could just erupt out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Stay away from stuff like that because I don't even go out really. This is why I'm saving my money for more important things. I'm very wise. I spent too much money on the music industry. $140,000 is enough. I wish I would have never spent that. If I would have known what I know now, I would have like tons of bars of gold and silver. And
right.
I want to feed people too. Like, I mean, I try to store food if I could help somebody. I don't have that much money now. Times are tougher. It's much harder to make money today than it was years ago.
Man.
It's people. And with sustainable development and this climate hoax BS that they're trying to force down our throats. Well, like they just keep bringing too many people. There's too many people in these certain areas, and I want to get away from it. And they're bringing in tons of illegals, man. Even upstate New York, they're bringing them along the train line, and they're just dispersing from there. And people are talking about this. So I get the gist because I talk to many women who are giving me plenty of information. It's not, just because I'm just saying this stuff because I don't like Spanish people. It's just that I know that they're infiltrating our country with these, you know.
Right. There's a difference between how they're being used in the agenda and then them as a people. You know, I lived out there. I loved the people. I loved the culture. But unfortunately, they're also being used. In fact, I showed last night, Bill Gates is doing a new campaign where they're going to be, and they even put it out in public, they're going to be testing some new things out there on the people in Central America and South America.
Horrible. They are. I'm telling you, they cloning in Argentina. And I believe in my heart that guy, the Pope from Argentina, the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. Now, the Franklin and Francis, the same name. I'm telling you, that guy looks just like the image of Benjamin Franklin on a $100 bill. You put them both together, they look pretty similar. And they both have the same name. Franklin and Francis is the same name. People don't get that. These people are witches and sorcerers, man. They're psychos.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm with you, man. What's that?
Believe in cloning? I'm sorry.
Do I? Yes, I do. I just don't know what level we're at with it. Like Hillary has got a bunch of I don't think they're clones. I think they're actresses. I think Hillary's got a bunch of body doubles. I laugh every time I see a new picture of her. I'm laughing. Like one day I'll see a story where she's sick or something, and the next day she's shopping, you know, in Beverly Hills or something. It's just
they had a doll once when they moved her into the car when she was coming from like
I remember that.
The 9/11. You saw that?
Yeah, something fell off, like a bracket fell off or something. I mean,
oh my God, this is unbelievable. How stupefied are the people, man? They don't see this shit. It's so
yeah.
funny.
And so that's where, like I said, the cloning thing's really weird to me. And that's, I even think about, and I'll close with this one with you, but I even think a lot about the Kanye West video where he had Trump in there and everything. Then Kanye spilled a lot of truth. Then he went and got, you know, and reprogrammed for a week. When he came out, he had blonde hair, and the first visit was to President Trump. So when I see stuff like that, yeah, man, that's
vampire eyes. Did you see him with the vampire contact eyes? Oh.
See all that, but you know that's stuff I wonder about. But I won't make videos on that because again, that's such speculation. I've seen, and for the most part, I've liked what Trump's done, but I don't like his 5G. I don't like his stance with Monsanto.
Anti-Semitic executive order. I don't like that.
Right, there's that. The red flag laws are a big issue as well. Yeah, so you know,
kinds of stuff he's working on the guns. Yep.
We'll see. You know, we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, you know, it's the best we could have for now. You know, I'm going to go with it as long as it's good news, and we'll see, man. That's why I didn't do a lot of Trump stuff in this movie. I did some, and the some I did is some stuff you guys have probably never seen before. It's pretty crazy.
That would be very cool. I can't wait to see it. Now, how are we going to see it?
I'm going to release it tomorrow for free on January 1st. I'm just going to drop it probably on BitChute.
Sounds good. I'm going to check it out, man. Thanks, KJ. You have everybody have a great night, man, and enjoy the rest of the people talking.
Hey, Steven, you too. I didn't mean to be rude and cut you off. I was just trying to.
Oh, you're not cutting me off, man. I had a great time, man. I have my lot. Everybody else gets a chance.
Well, it's nice meeting you. Take care and have a good New Year, man.
Peace, brother. Peace, brother.
See ya. All right. Hey, man, now here's one I haven't. Here's Grumpy Troll, man. This is an old school friend. We've been friends on YouTube for a long time. Hi, Grumpy Troll.
Hey, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm great. Thanks for being a friend for so long, for real. I've meant to tell you that. And you're probably going to slam me now with something, but I just wanted to throw that out there. You've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I've definitely been. I've been following you for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years now.
Thank you.
But, yeah, I've been wanting to call in. You know, because a lot of the topics you hit on are things that, you know, I have some kind of experience or, you know, a story to tell or something. And so
I'd love to hear them.
I'm gonna kind of break this up into a couple of segments, you know, and kind of hit on some things. One thing is I have an experience I had with an interdimensional UFO up close. I have a experience I had with, I guess you could call them like a spiritual experience with a bunch of orbs.
Oh, really, man, dude, this is right up my alley. I'm loving it.
And the third thing was, pardon me.
Right.
The third thing is I want to circle back to one of your first commenters about like freeing yourself from the system and creating a job that you love, because that's something I've been fortunate enough to do for myself.
Good.
So we'll start with the interdimensional UFO, because that was probably one of the most compelling things that's happened to me in my life, because it was very polarizing for me.
Please tell me, because I've been studying those for years, and I'll say quickly too, I have said this in the past, that I believe the ones I show you guys and define, that I believe those really are interdimensional demonic beings. However, I've seen other kinds of orbs around people that truly were with Christ, like pure people. I follow some people online on YouTube that just talk about the Bible and stuff like that, and just very pure, good people. And a couple of these ladies, when I've watched their videos and they're talking about the Bible and stuff, light orbs, beautiful light orbs, are floating all through their rooms. So I know there's a difference. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there first. You've got the floor and time, so go ahead.
So when this happened, it was kind of peculiar, because it was the 4th of July, which is when you would expect to see fireworks, obviously. And me and a friend of mine were getting ready to go to this like annual firework war we always had, and I had accidentally locked my keys in the trunk. And so I'm like trying to figure out how to get them out of the trunk, and we're standing there next to each other talking, and all of a sudden we see our shadow and this like brilliant blue light, and we're thinking this has got to be the coolest firework on the planet, we turn around, and there behind us is this like brilliant blue ball of energy, and it's literally floating right over my house. I mean, like I could have probably thrown a rock and hit it.
How many of you guys were looking at this?
It was just me and one other guy.
Okay, go ahead.
And so we turn around, and as soon as we turn around and look up and see that it's not a firework, like our hair is just standing on end, and we can't even talk. Like we're trying to say something to each other, and like we can't come up with any words. And so we're just standing there like staring at it, and it's probably, I don't know, 50, 60 feet across. Just this brilliant blue sphere, and it didn't fly away. It switched dimensions. Like it was like visible, and then it wasn't visible. And so like after that, it was just kind of a story, and my parents were out of town at the time, and when they came back in town, I told them the story, and they said, "Hey, have you looked in the newspaper?" And I said, "No." I said, "Well, there's a story about a blue UFO spotted," and I lived in St. Louis at the time, and so I looked at in the everyday section, and there it was, a story about this blue sphere being reported all over, like from mid-Missouri to mid-Illinois. And a lot of people had just kind of seen it flying across the sky and kind of interpreted it as a firework, except for the fact that it was traveling horizontally. So, I don't know what it was. I've talked to some people, and a lot of people say that the blue color is representative of a good spirit. I mean, I really don't know.
Well, that's one of the reasons I won't go all real deep. I think of everything ahead like that, even with the weird blue gold pattern on my YouTube channel for so many years. That's blue and gold. You can look that up in the Bible as well. So I'm with you on that with the colors. Colors do mean a lot too. There's definitely tons of color coding in our world. That's another story. But yeah, man, wow. So go ahead though. Continue, please. So people had seen it, and most of them thought it was fireworks.
Yeah. I mean, you can go on like the MUFON site, and you can look, July 4th, 1997 blue UFO, and it'll pull up, 100 reports. And I think I even have a report in there I posted. But yeah, I mean, that was the gist of the story. I don't know what the heck it was. All I know is that out of all the reports that I read, I was the only person that it like stopped and like sat over and looked at, So I really don't know what that means.
Oh, sorry, man. Go ahead. I thought you were going to lead into something else too. When there are a few stories you wanted to tell us.
Yeah. The next story was living in St. Louis. I had a friend who owned the Limp Mansion. Well, now it's like a bed and breakfast, and the Limp Mansion was one of the like first brewing families in St. Louis, and they had several properties in the area, and they had like an old warehouse, and the warehouse was still in use, but you could get on the elevator and you could travel all the way down to where they used to lager the beer, and it used to be they had it set up like a place to entertain guests, and they had like a hot tub or a pool that they put down there, a cinema. They had a bunch of stuff that was like in these underground lagering tunnels where they used to lager the beer. And so we were on a tour going down there, and I brought a camera with me, and we took a picture I was taking pictures of some of the different areas. And at that point, it was like right when digital cameras first came out, so you could actually look back and see what picture you took. And I looked back at the picture, and there's like literally thousands of little tiny balls of energy floating around. And
yeah, man.
I'm like, holy cow! And so I start telling my friends, look at this picture, look at all what are these things? And I take another picture, and when I take the second picture after talking about them, they were all gone. So it was like, and the thing about these lagering caves is they were there before the brewing family ever got established, and they were said to be places where Indians used to live. And the other weird thing is that every person in the Limp family committed suicide.
Wow, man, that's interesting. That immediately makes me think of generational curses.
Yeah, like there was a spiral staircase that went from the Limp Mansion down into the lagering caves.
Man, that's crazy. Well, I love stuff like that. But how did you have you ever seen any of these orbs again in real life, or was that the only time?
I've occasionally, yeah, I've gotten a couple of pictures of them. I never see them with the naked eye, but I'll sometimes take a picture and I'll see one in there. But never like the thousands and thousands I saw in the cave like that.
Yeah, right. Well, man, thank you for sharing those. Those are good, and it's also nice to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I add one more quick thing?
Oh, of course, please.
So you were talking with one of the other callers earlier about like trying to find something that you enjoy doing that like escapes the system,
Yeah.
So I've been in sales all my life, and I was miserable selling mattresses and living in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
And so
I could see that being miserable.
it actually was a decent job. Like I got paid well. I barely had to do any work, but I was like, it was not very fulfilling. So I got online. I went on Craigslist, and I found this lady selling a bunch of shea butter. And this is kind of weird. But so I go and I buy some, and I start trying to sell it, and I like sell it all like in a couple days. So I go back and I buy her out, and fast forward to today, now I have a company that fully supports my income. I sell hundreds and hundreds of natural products, different butters, different oils, all kinds of different clays, different essential oils.
Seriously, that's so awesome, man. Hey, you should email me, and I'd like to find out what you got. I may buy some from you. I'm into all natural, actually. In fact, I'm actually earthing right now. I've got my band on my arm. I'm grounded right now. So
Right.
I've been into all this, but that's the scariest movie ever at Gmail. If you ever can, let me know, Grumpy Troll. But man, that's awesome, man. That's the American dream right there. See, it's one of those things where, I don't like to, I get what America was built on and everything. I understand this, of course, but you know what? As far as, and I've lived in another country, of course, but beyond all that, there's still some great things about America, and that's one of them right there. That's an awesome story. Good for you.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing, and I'll email you this, but I don't know. A couple of shows ago, I guess you invited some new mods on, and I think one of them banned me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they just saw the name Troll and they're like, ban.
That's okay. It happens. Well, how'd you get back? I'm glad you're back.
Well, no, I could only call in. I can't chat on the chat anymore, unfortunately.
Well, no way. But let me see. I don't know if I can do it from here, but that's too bad. Well, man, I'll try to remove that. I'll remember. In fact, email me, all right, and then
Yeah,
that'll remind me.
I'll email you. I mean, Tamara knows me. Effie knows me. That you know me. All these people know me. I'm not a real troll. I'm just.
I know, man. I'm sorry that happened, and it's. Yeah, I'm sure it's just one of the new people. Maybe just made a mistake, like you said. No big deal. Luckily, that stuff doesn't happen a whole lot, and they're all fantastic, But yeah, email me and remind me, and we'll do it. I promise. Thank you, man.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. It's good talking to you.
Hey, you too. Take it easy, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, take care, man.
Okay, bye. All right, everyone. Thanks again for waiting. KC's next up, and then we're just gonna go to Bond and just keep on moving on. Hi, KC. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, KJ?
Hey, not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, bro. Thanks for having this stream tonight, man. It was
you're welcome.
Pleasant surprise.
Good. I know not every. Well, plus it's early enough. People could still go do stuff later, But I figured it'd be nice to have a little hangout.
Absolutely, bro. I don't know what I'll be getting into tonight. My cousin may come over, but I don't plan on going out. So
yeah, me either.
You've had a lot of awesome callers tonight, man.
Man, thank you. I think so too. I was just thinking about that a few callers back. It's like they've all been fantastic. It's not that everything hadn't been great in the past, but again, in the past, sometimes I've let people run on, and I know they can get tiring for people listening, but I've had some massive shows, but this has all been perfect. Like everyone's getting awesome points out. They're all engaging and interesting. And, hey, man, like I said, this is a great audience, great community,
I completely agree, man. I've been into seeking the truth, man, since like 2008. And I think I found your channel like maybe a year ago.
Oh, cool.
I've been following you ever since. And it's just great to have people that are like-minded, because one of your callers said earlier, some of this stuff, I try to talk to people about this stuff, like within my community. And a lot of it doesn't take, honestly.
Well, hopefully you can use my movie. And I hate to keep plugging the movie, but again, I'm not making money on it, folks. I made it to help wake people up. It's entertaining, I believe. Imagine a 3.5 hour long, basically, movie from me or something. It's going to be a mix of everything, but I made it to where people are going to get it. If they'll watch it. That's again, I was like, oh, are they going to watch 3.5? But we'll see, man. So hopefully that'll help, man. I know how hard it can be. Trust me. I've just had holidays, of course, with family like everybody else. And I just don't even get into any of this, man. I don't talk about New World Order. I don't talk about Zionism. I don't get into nothing. I got to watch out sometimes, even if I get a little heated over something stupid Democrats are doing, because my family's. Then they all kind of get weird because I can get passionate. I'm like, oh gosh, man, I've got to keep myself in check, and you know what I mean? Because they get awkward when I start talking about stuff. Because in the past, when I first started doing it, I'd ramble like I do, and I'd catch myself 5 minutes later. I've explained all this crazy stuff about Jesuits or whatever to my family, and they're looking at me like a deer in headlights, like you might need your meds now, so.
Yeah, I understand, bro. My mother, I've talked to her about this stuff, and I've talked to some uncles about it, and they're pretty receptive to it. We're all Christians. Praise be to the Lord, because he really woke me up from the deceptions that are of this world. I mean, Lucifer, he's in the air, man, and he's in the airwaves, and he's trying to play this deceptive game towards everybody. And I won't go into my personal story, but I'll just say that after praying to Christ for so long, he finally gave me the eyes to really see what is going on. And I believe he's done that with you, and I believe he's done that with a lot of your callers. And I look online and I see so many people that are just, their eyes are open to, I would say, like, the invasion of the occult. It actually never left. It's just coming out more and more publicly now, to the point where it's right in our eyes. And for example, I went to go see that movie. You talk about Marvel movies. I went to go see Captain Marvel. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't, just because I heard about the programming in it and I knew it was a big feminist thing, but I didn't watch that one, but I've seen a bunch of the other ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I went to the movie theater with a friend of mine who actually led me back to Christ, believe it or not, which is totally awesome. And I went and watched this movie, man, and I'm not gonna go into the details of the movie, but what I got out of it was God was the bad guy and aliens are our friends, pretty much.
Oh, I should have watched it. That's interesting.
You should definitely go and watch it and see if you pick up on the same things that I did. That's just like what I picked up on after watching the whole movie in its entirety.
Oh,
and
man.
I feel like movies that are coming out now, they have these seeds of programming in them to get you to think a certain way and to see the world in a certain way. And it's not just Captain Marvel. I mean, a lot of these Marvel movies with these superheroes, it's kind of like it's putting these good guys up against these bad guys. But it seems to me like, you know, they're kind of all on the same team and serving the same agenda. I was watching a movie. It was a documentary. I'm trying to think of what it was called. It was called Higher Entities. It's by Foul Brothers Productions.
I'll look that up.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's called Higher Entities, The Lost Tapes. And they pretty much spoke with a bunch of former FBI, former people in the government, and the theory is that when aliens are in the public, they believe that aliens will become in the public at some point. And there's good aliens, and then there's bad aliens. And we all know the grays to be kind of the bad guys, but there's also supposedly good aliens, and they are ultimately going to defeat the grays and be the saviors and pretty much do all this good, kind of reverse what we have done as a society, because the society we live in now is controlled by chaos, you know, create chaos and instill order. And obviously that's not working. So there's going to be these entities that come and supposedly save us, but it's actually a strong deception, a deception that would be so deceptive that it would deceive even the elect if possible.
Well, here's one for that. You've heard of Ashtar Command? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned Ashtar Command, because I used to be all into that, bro. When I was into New Age,
did you know it goes back to the Old Testament even?
I'm not surprised.
There was an old god named Ashtaroth. It's the same thing, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So they have their own gospel, bro. And they believe that, you know, they have their own Christ and there's no sin, and they're the good guys and they're fighting the bad guys behind the scenes right now. And you can communicate with these entities through channeling and meditations and everything else. And I was actually into that before I came back to Christ, which is really crazy that you mentioned that. There's a YouTube channel called The Brighter Side of 2012, and I went down their rabbit hole and eventually ended up into that for a while. But, you know, I got saved in 2008, and then I kind of fell away as a baby Christian because the world deceived me. And once I came back to Christ, he pretty much showed me everything. He showed me he was there the whole time. I was into like Kundalini yoga and trying to open my third eye because I thought that was access to the real truth, when in fact that is just the deception that was back in Genesis. It goes all the way back to eating the fruit of good and evil. And it's Lucifer's game, and he's been playing the same game the whole time. It never changes. It's just he's just trying to do it in different ways now through like the New Age and through what I believe like Hinduism And so spirituality is like really on the rise right now. It's just that spirituality, I believe, is you're following fallen angels when you're practicing that stuff.
Yeah, it's theosophy falls in with all this stuff as well. You know, that's a big part of it. The channelers, the Bailey family, Alice and Foster Bailey, all of that, and they're the ones who talk a lot about, you know, the alien connection to these gods that are going to come down and save humanity. And even going back to Marvel, you gave me an idea. I need to make a video of all the Marvel programming, and that might be another one I have to just put on BitChute. I mean, I'm having to make some different decisions this year, you know, with YouTube just in case, but it'd still be a good one because did you see the newest Spider-Man where they went to Europe?
Oh yeah, Far From Home.
So look at that. That's alien programming with you know, what was it, Project Bluebeam, basically with the drones.
Yeah, the drones projecting the artificial settings.
And
so you saw Jake Gyllenhaal's costume. It had the all-seeing eye all over it, and you know, he was pretending to be the good guy, but yet he was the bad guy, and it was just, yeah, I caught all that stuff too, man. It's pretty wild that it's becoming so open in our society right now, to the point where you talk about 2020 and then you talk about the Internet of Things, and then you talk about like Elon Musk and Neuralink that's about to come to pass. I don't know when exactly that's coming out, but once that does come out, you'll have Neuralink, you'll have people connecting their brains to the internet. And I think subsequently, you know, once they do that, they're going to become part of this hive mind, and they will actually lose themselves within a network of consciousness, to the point where you won't even be yourself anymore. And I'm not saying that is the mark of the beast, but what I'm saying is, if Lucifer is trying to be God and pose as God, then what better way to be omnipresent than through a hive mind technology?
Of course,
fueled through artificial intelligence and quantum computers that are coming out now. I mean, Google just released that they have a quantum computer.
Yeah, I saw that. And, you know, it also, the hive mind and all that makes me think of the Bible verse where it says, in those days, the people who accept the mark will want to die, but they won't be able to. They'll seek death, but not be able to. But I wonder, I almost picture just almost like the Matrix, like tons of human batteries, but they all have virtual reality headsets on. So they're in these other realities where maybe everything's beautiful and okay, but they're dying and being fed off of, you know, in the real world somehow. I don't know. I'm just saying,
totally being used. It's like, like you said, the Matrix, and Spielberg did a movie not too long ago called Ready Player One, where people literally escape their own reality to go
huge. Yeah. I did a video on it. That was a great one as far as showing symbolism. I mean, literally had the devil on the back of the van of the good guys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fixed war between supposedly good and evil, but I believe both sides are actually evil, and it's a pretend war to fool the masses and to get them to go along with the plan. And, you know, Christ is the truth. There are no lies in him. And had he not revealed what he has to me, as far as through his body, which, I mean, KJ, you're definitely part of his body, and he's definitely using you to wake people up to the reality that we're living in. It's just what I pray for, KJ, is that people will be receptive to what you're doing, and be receptive and open-minded to the point where, you know, they will seek the only one that can save us, which is Christ.
Thanks, man. That's exactly, I guess I don't want to spoil anything. I can't wait to see what y'all think. But, you know, I made the ending very, you know, you'll see, guys. But I'm hoping the whole message gets across, and it's everything you just said, Casey, and thank you, because that's my whole goal. That's all I want. Like, I don't expect this to be getting tons of hits overnight and everything else, and maybe great, but that's, you know, I'm putting it somewhere else on a different site, and I believe that the people that need to will find it through the help of you guys as well as sharing it and stuff. And it may take some time, but this is something that's going to be out there, and I'm just glad it'll be there because I feel it's everything I needed to put out, and I feel I was led towards everything I put in there. This thing is crazy. There's things I found that I've never seen before. Some of you guys have never seen before. You'll see, man. So I used clips that have been removed from YouTube, you know, so, you know, man, just I don't want to start rambling.
I'm totally excited for it, bro.
Thanks.
I love your work. There's also other people out there. Like there's a guy, his name's Trey Smith. He does these DVDs called God in a Nutshell.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Trey.
Yeah, Trey kind of woke me up to the new age that I was living in, really woke me up to the point where I need to repent of this stuff. I need to follow Christ. It was in my heart the whole time because I got saved in 2008 and then walked away. And, you know, like I said, he was with me the whole time. But it's stuff like this. It's stuff like this, stuff like Trey Smith puts out, stuff that you put out. There's going to be somebody, bro. And it may be a bunch of people. It may be one person. But there's going to be people that wake up like I did back in 2008 from videos that you guys are putting out. So,
you know what's crazy? Let me tell you this, man. And thank you. And you know what's really nuts is, so, you know, I started looking into film festivals that maybe I could enter this just to get more eyes on it. Okay. And find free ones, underground, stuff like that. So I'm looking. And I found this thing called Conspiracy Con that started back in like 2001. And it's dead. 2014, it died. They can no longer fund it, but it seemed like some of the old stuff was awesome. They had some really good people there. And then I remembered I lived in Austin, Texas, and I remembered there's a bookstore there called New World Books, which is all about conspiracy stuff. And they had guest speakers in there. Freeman been there before. Really cool place. Well, I looked that place up. That place is shut down. I found out that just about a year and a half ago, they were talking about Kratom on their YouTube channel, and YouTube banned their entire channel and never gave it back to them. And then they also closed their doors. So my point is that I'm not finding any place in all my searches where there's a cool convention you can go to with not, I don't like conspiracy talk, you know what I mean? But people like us, like our community here, there's nothing like it. So that's why I've been praying about it and thinking, do I need to try to create this? Is this something that I can look into in the future? Is this something I can do? Is it something I should do or try? I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Something to pray about, KJ.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, bro, people will find you because the Lord will lead people to your material. That's what he does. That's what he does, bro. And before I go, because I don't want to take up too much time. I know you said about 10 minutes.
You're all right.
You talking about the Marvel movies. There's a YouTube channel, and I don't know if you've heard of them, called Little Light Studios.
I feel like I have seen them. Aren't they really big?
I don't know how many subscribers they have, but they do really good work on these Marvel movies and seeing the esoteric messages in these films and how these how the directors kind of do role reversal, like we were talking about, on who's good and who's bad. Like you go back to Captain Marvel, where they kind of made God out to be the bad guy, and then these aliens, you have sympathy for them and you want to see them survive from the big bad God. They kind of show you that, and they also do video games too, like Assassin's Creed, which, you know, I was a big fan of growing up. Like, I have an Assassin's Creed tattoo. I mean, it's one of the video games that got me through some hard times in my past when I didn't have a job and I just felt like at my lowest low. But there's also like, you know, seeds of the occult in that stuff. So really it's in everything.
Well, did you ever see Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
I did. Yeah.
God's the bad guy again, remember? And he flew around in an all-seeing eye spaceship.
That's right, bro.
I mean, and see, I did a video on that, but I put it on my website. I didn't do it on YouTube. I've done some of that in the past. And like I said, man, I'm still going to do my regular stuff on YouTube, but I'm going to do new stuff somewhere else, maybe on BitChute. I don't know. But the point is, yes. So all of these movies, yeah, it's like, you're right. Like, God's almost always the bad guy, you know? Thanos was the most famous character out of that movie, Endgame, or whatever it was, Avengers, whatever. But that was the most. I remember all the news shows were talking about Thanos, and you know, a bad guy, but you cared about him. They showed his heart, and he, it's like
he had sympathy for the devil, man.
Sympathy for the devil, man. Exactly. Well, Casey, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, bro. I'll keep supporting you, man. I'm a Patreon supporter. So
thank you, man. Hey, I mean this. If it wasn't for you guys, and the sponsorships help too, but if it wasn't for all of that, man, I wouldn't have been able to take the time to make this. So thank you guys. So thank you so much, man.
It's no problem, bro. I will definitely keep you in my prayers, and I'm just going to keep watching what you're doing, bro, because it's good stuff.
All right, Casey. Thanks, man, and take care. I'll talk to you later. Have a good new year.
God bless, bro. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, man. Just great. One after the other here. It's been great. Bond is next. Hey, Bond.
Hey, KJ, what up?
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's always nice talking to you guys,
Yeah, it's been, man, I've been listening to you for a while, like probably when you first started. Like,
wow.
I remember we had talked before, and I told you I was going to send you over some pictures when you had sent me your email when you were more into like the type things. And I remember you were telling a story about I think you were telling the story about maybe when you were littler. I think you had a friend that was some girl, and she said something about someone had got kidnapped or something happened as far as like
you remember that? No, man. Yeah, that's one of the scariest true stories I've ever been involved in. And I was in the 8th grade. It was my girlfriend telling me over the phone late at night. We weren't supposed to be on the phone. This is back before cell phones. I'm old, in that respect. But yeah, man, that was one of the, and you remembered that, man. Wow, that's been a while. Thanks for listening so long.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been listening to you like way back since then. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you think about all of these new 3 a.m. Games they got coming out now? Like as far as I've been talking to a couple of people, like I think it's actually open. Well, that the veil is released, or the veil is lifting. But with all these 3 a.m. games, do you think that let me see. I
need to look those up. Honestly, I haven't heard, but my first instinct is 3 a.m. is the witching hour, right? So
yeah,
that's the first issue.
Yeah, because I mean, they have these things called like one man hide and go seek, where it's kind of like it's pretty much, it would be like a Chucky doll, where you pretty much you get a doll, you cut it open, you put rice in it, and then you get like a blood sample, and then you're supposed to put it in the doll and sew it back together.
Ooh, so that's like a ritual. Yeah.
So kind of like pretty much all of their 3 a.m.s are like, seem like they're a bunch of rituals that are like summoning up different spirits from different realms. And I was actually talking to one of my friends who do security like overnight, and he was actually telling me like now lately, like when it does get around like 2 or 3, like things just kind of feel real eerie, kind of, I would say.
Yeah, man. That's when like on All Hallows Eve, I guess between 1 and 3, I believe, that's supposed to be one of the most powerful times for them to do spells and summon demons and all the whatever nastiness these weirdos get into.
So now with us pushing into 2020, do you think there will be more of this? Or
yeah, man, what I think about it is that it's called the revelation of the method, and also the externalization of the hierarchy, and kind of putting all that together. What it means is that all of us are being bathed in the occult now in a lot of ways. We're all being bathed in Satanism, bathed in all of it, even down to the root idea of it, which is just feeding your flesh, right? Just feeding your flesh. You've got pride events, things like this, right? But so excuse me. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So the hidden controllers, if you will, Illuminati, the different secret societies, the Luciferians behind the scenes, all that stuff's coming out now too, right? WikiLeaks is a part of that. Everything's starting to come out. The truth of it is, so they need it to come out in their narrative. And then what's happened on the other side of that, I believe, is that through the Holy Spirit, God has woken up many of his children, men and women alike. And I consider myself one, and we've all been showing the other side of the narrative. We're showing the truth of this stuff. It's true. Everything's built off the occult. All these countries, cities, everything, it's all built off of it. We're showing you the truth of that. We're showing you our narrative, or God's narrative, that it all falls in with the Bible, This stuff was written about thousands of years ago. That's why we're seeing it now. Even looking back at Daniel, you know, the prophecies of Daniel, we're seeing all this stuff unfold now. So that's the real spiritual battle. Yeah, that's why they're shutting down our truth. That's, you know, our truth channels, so to speak. They're shutting down a lot of us. Even with looking back to the Google guy that went undercover with Project Veritas, admitting that they met in a Masonic lodge, and the next day was when YouTube first started their demonetization and deranking program. So that's what we're seeing, man. It is a real spiritual battle and a real battle over information and knowledge. And that's exactly where we're at. So it's not going to slow down, man, at all. It seemed like it did for a while, because remember they had the Katy Perry thing. They had a lot of things happening at the Grammys, a lot of occult rituals in public. They were doing a lot of this stuff for a while. Then it kind of tapped out a little. But you know, I think they had to slow it down there for a bit. And that's when you saw a lot of these commercials coming out from big corporations mocking conspiracy theorists. Like Progressive did a lot of those commercials. Pizza Hut did some, right? So I'm rambling. But anyway, it's your turn, so go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, man. Like I said, so I've been listening to you for a while. And even now with this whole UFO thing, like, you know, more people are seeing orbs or lights in the sky. And to me, I think those are more, like you would say, like those are more kind of like demonic spirits, I would say, that are like interdimensional, I would believe. But way back in the day when you used to talk about this, it was kind of like nobody was even seeing them, or nobody was even looking up in the sky. But like now it's like everything is overwhelmed, kind of like some of your other people were speaking on, as far as like a lot of these movies and TV actually is like really programming people. Because like right now I stopped watching TV for, let's say, about like maybe a year or 2 years now, and I could really tell like the people who do look at TV, they kind of reflect everything that they do watch. Like it's really on that real programming type of ordeal. And when you kind of try to tell them, like you say, when you go to like maybe a family something, or you know you're out with like friends and you're trying to discuss, and you know they bring up something, and you know you have a little bit more knowledge on it, and you try to tell them, it's kind of like some people, they try to take it in, but like everyone, it seems that everyone's span to sit and listen to someone, it seems like it's just dying down. Like it's like people can't even listen for like 2 or 3 minutes without, you know, either adding something in, or like you would say like, oh man, I'm tired. But then if you start talking about something stupid or something you've seen on TV, it's like, boom, they like catch back on. Now with that, like, how would you go about, I guess, opening the door for more people to to see more? Because I mean, I know the process as far as like people coming to the truth is like a long process. Like once you start figuring stuff out, and then you start seeing how everything is laid out. And I mean, it's kind of like a playbook. Like you said, when you look at the Bible's basic instructions before leaving Earth, it's like an instruction booklet, and it's kind of like you look at everything that's on there, and it's like a playbook by playbook. Because I was actually telling one of my friends when they had the the California, when we had the moon crossing the when the moon did the cross the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, so when that happened, I was actually looking at one of the verses in the Bible where it was talking about when that was supposed to happen, how some part of Jupiter would probably break off. And the weirdest thing, like everything that it was saying actually came true. And then, you know, when you try to debate with someone who says, oh, well, you know, the Bible can't be this, or the Bible isn't this. But then when I ask them, I'm like, well, then how do you take bits and pieces out, and then, you know, you use it to your benefit, but then you say these other bits and pieces aren't correct? So, you know, the like you said, the battle is like an ongoing battle, and it's kind of like,
It gets hard. I mean, I've done it different ways throughout the years. One thing I learned is show people short clips of things. One really effective one years ago for me was showing people a 30-second clip. You know, I used to have a voice recorder on my phone. So in there, I would just say, yes, we can. And I'd play it backwards, and it'd be, thank you, Satan. That's one way I got a lot of people into kind of, you know, the next step, showing them something, or saying, you should check out this video with me, or something like that. You know what I mean? Also showing them the money mysteries. That's one. If you show people that 9/11's on our money, the ones that came, the bills after 96, and they're discontinued now. But if you show them those, you know, and then even like the future one that shows New York getting hit with a new nuke and the tidal wave. You know, I mean, you can get into some of these weird things. People love the weird stuff. You can show them like the Apple logo on computers. If you put two of those Apple logos together, it creates a gray alien. You know, so
yeah. I actually seen that.
Yeah, the fun stuff, the weird stuff, you know. And then again, I keep plugging the movie, but it'll be another easy way. You can just say, hey, you want to watch a movie with me or check it out, and you know, see if maybe that helps get people to watch different videos and movies. I mean, that's always been but honestly,
because my niece was.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was just going to quickly say that you're okay. I was quickly going to say that most people, though, in real life, I gave up on early, and I don't even bother telling them, and I just pray about it. It's like, you know, there's people I care for that. But the other side of it, too, is not to have some idea that everybody has to know this. I always think what the ultimate goal is. You know, the ultimate goal is for people to know God, right? To believe in God, to love God, to accept Christ as my belief system, to accept Christ and get connected with God. That's like the most important thing. I have a lot of family members who are already there, and they're church type people and they believe what they believe. To me, there's really no point right now in trying to convince them of anything. Like, they're okay. They get their own relationship with God. Then there's the other side, you know, there's people who can make a difference. You know, we can get the word out. We can wake people up, and we get enough people woke up. That's where we can start getting groups of people together and maybe making changes, you know, maybe going to these libraries and telling these, you know, transsexual dancers to get away from the children and things like this. You know, I don't know how exactly it'll work. I've always been a seed planter. That's always what I felt God had me as, you know, and just using my weird history to create the kind of things I create now for him. And, you know, but I'm praying a lot about what I can do more in the future, you know, because I don't mind stepping out from behind the camera. If it starts getting really crazy and we really start seeing it all popping off, you know, martial law and things like this, I mean, and then the censorship online, of course, would grow, you know, I would think. Then, you know, maybe I will wind up being the guy with a megaphone running out to these things and yelling. I don't know. Maybe a bunch of us will, you know, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, because I say my niece, she actually is in film, and so, you know, she's in a lot of the Hollywood stuff. And actually, I actually got her to listen to you like a while back, and like, yeah, she's actually been keeping up with you. And like at first, like, you know, I was trying to tell her about a little bit about the cloning thing. You know, I try, like you said, I try to walk them into all the easy stuff, but like you said, some people is just like, man, you know, you want to save them, but it's kind of like, it's just a lost cause. So
some are lost cause. Yeah, it's the other side. Some are just, you know, it's just never going to happen. I've got friends of friends I have where I live now. I'm back in my home state, but I've got friends of friends. They're all blue collar guys, you know, forklift drivers and stuff like this. But every time I go out with my friend and some of these guys show up, they sit here and try to clown me over, you know, my knowledge on things. And these particular guys are dopes, you know. I mean, they're not listening. I'm not worried about saying this, but in real life, like, these guys are dopes, you know, and there's no point in me in trying to do anything with them. I just use my humor with these guys. I'll usually like cut them down or something. That's how we all treat each other. You know, it's a bunch of guys. I just keep it like on that level, and I don't even bother with some people, you know. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because I even have friends where I'll go and tell them, I'm like, man, at the end of the day, you only really have two choices. Either you do what you're supposed to or you don't. Like, all of the in between is just what you fill in there to make the time pass for doing it or you for not doing it. But depending on what it is, and if it's what God wants you to do, that's what you're going to do regardless. And like, I mean, for a while, like, I had been up and I was trying to, like, cause I do interior design, and I had me and my girlfriend, or me and my ex-girlfriend, I should say, we're still cool. We were actually just like, you know, we were going to church. We had started doing a lot of things. And then it was kind of weird that, like, the pastor's son passed away, and then our pastor passed away, and then like our church kind of stopped. Wow. And like, when it's like, and then it just got weird, because then I was like, well, I was asking my mom, I was like, well, no one takes over the church, or like, what happens now? And it was kind of like, it kind of left people, you know, like scrambled. And like, my girlfriend at the time was Indian, so, you know, I was taking her from like the Hindu, and I was showing her the difference. And like, she started seeing all of that, and like, now she's more open and she's understanding. And like, you know, she was trying to tell her mom and dad, But like I already told her, I was like, man, they're older, and this is like something that they've been on for like the last 40, 50 years. So it's not going to be that easy just to tell them to.
Yeah, boomers are the toughest ones to convince, honestly, you know, the boomer generation.
But then, you know, like you know, I listen to like a different couple of channels on YouTube, and I just look at the different stories. But then when you relate everything back, like, okay, for example, like I tell people, I'm like, man, the scientists don't know any more than you know. I'm like, everything they give you is pretty much a hypothesis, because at first they said, you know, we evolved from the monkeys, and then we evolved from like the half fish, half. And these are things that have never happened in history, and there's no evidence behind it. But then now, after the whole 2020, after the whole 2012, when like, oh, you know, everything's going to end, or the Mayan calendar end. But then when you look into it, the person who was doing it just passed away. And that's really why the Mayan calendar stopped at that time. But right after 2012 was kind of like when this whole UFO aliens kind of created us.
Something shifted. I think something shifted.
Yeah. And I was like, and I've been telling everybody, I'm like, man, 1 second they were telling us this, and then all of a sudden they're telling us this. And I'm like, man, do you not see every year these guys, well, not every year, but it seems like every 3 or 4 years, these guys kind of shift, or they're not too sure. They're like, oh, well, the Anunnakis made you. And then they took a little DNA here. But like everything that they usually use is kind of mixed with something out of the Bible. It's never just a story where it's just like, okay, this is how this and this happened. It's kind of like they try to take bits and pieces out to put together their story to fit. And then like the way I kind of explain to people, I guess the best way, I'm like, man, if Lucifer was in heaven, you would have to imagine this guy would be smarter than us already. So it'd be like if you had friends and you guys got kicked out of one side of the party and then you were put somewhere else, I'm like, and that became pretty much the kings and queens that are on our earth right now, because, you know, back in the day, they pretty much sold out to get where they were to become kings and queens. And I'm like, if you really break it down and look at it, it seems like our kings and queens and like the blue bloodline, like all of that is connected. But if the bigger picture of it would be like, it would seem like they're all fallen angels that are connected. So it'd be like if one friend is telling the other friend, hey, me and you will start this argument over here, and then, you know, we'll get these people to rile up. And then, you know, maybe we'll have our friend over here, he'll come in and he could be the hero. And that's kind of seems how like they're playing it out. And I know a lot of people are looking to this disclosure as far as the UFO thing, but I was telling a lot of people, like, I don't see them ever really coming out and saying that, oh yeah, there's UFOs, right, even though they have. But because of you would have to think back to all the people who either been assassinated or people who've been killed to be kept quiet on these kind of situations with UFOs. And it's just like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't see them coming out and saying that, because then the people who came out with that beforehand that were saying these things, then it would make what they were saying credible, which would make our government uncredible. But it's kind of like
they'll probably save it for the event, you know, really. Like if they're going to use it, they'll probably save it for the event. And that's where I've speculated before. What if a UFO lands in Jerusalem or even Washington, D.C., and a character comes walking out that looks like Jesus, the picture we've been given our whole lives? That I could see convincing tons of people in the world that this is it, you know? Am I wrong?
No, I mean, the way things are right now, like, I think a lot of people would go for that, because a lot of people are looking for some type of savior, but I don't even think they really know what they're looking for. They're just, you know, they're trying to fill something in, because a lot of people seem to have some kind of void, but I guess it's like the tears in the hair, pretty much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's definitely, you're dealing with tears with royalty and all this too, but it also makes me question Kanye's role in this. And now you're starting to see more people in, you know, entertainment shows talking about Jesus Christ and stuff. So, you know, again, these are just theories I have. It just makes me wonder, you know, are we being prepared for a Christ looking type figure that's not going to be the real one? You know, I don't know. Or will it be Obama? You know, who knows? But anyway, you know, there's definitely a lot of weird stuff on him. Don't even get me started. So go ahead. Anything else, Spawn? Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. even just one quick story, man. There was this time I was actually working on some stuff in the garage, and I was putting these wires together, and I stuck this wire together, and it was like boom. I seen a white light, and I was like, oh man, like I thought I died. Like I seriously thought I died. So while I'm in like seeing this white light, I see these at the time. I couldn't see them per se, but like these I guess you would say entities. They kind of came up and they're like, "Oh man, you died. We got to take you to go see God now." And I was like, you know, and I'm thinking in my head like, "Oh man, I really died just from trying to put some plug in." And then so like while I'm walking with them, so I'm walking with these entities, and you know, it seems like I'm walking towards a brighter light. And then, you know, I started asking them a question. I was like, hey, is your God a lowercase g or capital G? And then like right when I said that, for some reason, it almost seemed like they kind of got angry. And then like they were like, well, you don't need to know all of that. You just worry about seeing the God that we're going to take you to. And then I was like, well, and then like something just didn't feel right. And I was like, man, and then I kept telling, I was like, well, is it a lowercase or a capital? And then the feeling just like, well, I don't think we got the same God. And like, as soon as I said that, it was like they got angry and they were just like, fine. And then like, I woke up and I woke up off of my floor. I don't even know how long I was out on the floor, but it was probably at least like 10 or 15. So I know for sure, kind of like, you know, when people say, oh, they're channeling all of these other entities, or like you said, like people are trying to open like their third eye and all of that. I think a lot of people are kind of getting, because they think they're talking to something that they're really not. Is like, as far as like, even when your relatives or friends pass away, you know, some people try to go see a psychic to talk to them, you know, to get maybe the last words. But like technically, God says, or in the Bible, it says pretty much when you die, you just go to sleep until he comes back. So technically, there would be no way that these people would be able to channel anyone that you know. So everybody that they are channeling is just someone, or I shouldn't say someone, if they're just channeling entities that either knew something about you, or, you know, they're just passing information that they had on you, but it won't be anything more up to date. But that's just pretty much it.
Well, that's all good knowledge, man. I appreciate you sharing. That's great stuff, Bond. Thanks.
Yeah, man, I appreciate everything you do. Like, man, like I said, I watch, like I've been listening to you for a while, and it seems like every time like you start talking about things or you put out a video, it'll be like, man, I was just thinking that same thing. So, you know, like great minds think alike.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I honestly appreciate you guys so much. It's hard for me to even tell you, you know, but I mean it. Just, you know, thank you for, you guys have stuck with me so long, man. So it means a lot. So I appreciate you, bud, and have a good new year. Okay.
Okay. Hey, quick question. Do you have an email?
I do. It's the scariest movie ever at Gmail.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely try to send you over those pictures or whatnot, because I do still have them, and it's just like, yeah, they're pretty weird, but I think you would like to check them out.
I look forward to
it.
Man.
You were into that, but yeah, I'll definitely send that over. All right,
okay,
you have a good New Year's, KJ.
You too. See you later. All right, guys. Next up is Forrest Monk. So we've been going a couple hours, I just realized. So what I'm going to do is just take a few moments and take a short break here, okay? So maybe just a couple minutes. So I'll be right back, you guys. I'm just going to go check on Chubbs, get me a fresh drink over here, and we'll be right back. This will be the image we keep up while I'm gone. That'll be the break image, I guess. How's that? All right, I'll be back in a second, you guys. Thanks. Okay, guys, thanks so much. We're back. Thanks for letting me take that break there. It looks like we may have lost Forest Monk, though. Sounds like he might be. I think he's sleeping. Forest Monk. Forest Monk. Hey. Oh, well, I'll come back to him, man. Sorry about that. Sorry, Forest Monk. All right, let me go ahead and move on to the next person. Triss. No way, is this Brother Triss?
How are
Brother
you?
Triss. Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really well. I actually fell asleep myself for 20 minutes, actually. I literally just woke up as well.
I know, man. Well, that's where I've been. I'll be doing some more shows like earlier my time for you guys, you know, across the pond and whatnot. I've been trying to mix it up a bit. So thanks for staying with us so late.
Oh, no worries. I mean, it's my pleasure. Yeah, I the last time I spoke to you was, well, years ago, really, like face to face. So I thought I'd drop in and say hi.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, man. I remember that, and thanks for being a friend for so long. And you're always really kind and encouraging, and have great knowledge as well. So just thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I wanted to also apologize because we had a conversation, didn't we, on email, and actually the Lord Himself wanted me to call you. That's why I've been staying up because you know, like we had a conversation, like should we should you continue with the channel with all the problems on YouTube and whatever, and actually like I just feel like I want to pray for this new thing that you've been doing and you know, bless it really, because obviously that was the right thing to do, and I'm sure you're very excited to drop.
I am, and thank you.
Something very influential.
Man, I hope so. I just, it's in His hands now. You know, as soon as I was done, I just almost wanted to collapse. It's exhausting, but it was also exhilarating because I wasn't worried about copyright strikes or YouTube censorship. I was like, I'm going to use anything I want and tell the story I want to tell, you know, but it was great.
Good.
Yeah. And I just said, Lord, it's in your hands, you know, and I did it not for money, you know, or any of that kind of thing. It's free. It's out there. Let's try to really help people, you know, but thank you, man. Thanks.
Amen. Do you mind if I pray for it?
Oh, please do. Yes, please.
In front of everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
Heavenly, have so much for KJ's skills and gifts you gave them to him. And I pray, Lord, that this new information, I think, that a lot of people need to hear will reach those who are seeking. Eventually, it all leads to you, both KJ and I know that. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that, well, at the end of the day, Satan's doing that people are completely unaware of. And at the end of the day, that's basically what this is all about, is kind of exposing the lies, revealing the truth. Who is the truth? Pilate asked your son that once, and well, he didn't say much at the time, but later on we know that, you know, he is the truth. He literally is the personification of truth. He represents you perfectly, Father. And I pray that everybody who is listening now and will listen and watch the video will discover the delight of knowing you personally. And obviously what's going on in the world is really, well, it's so awful. I mean, I looked on Google the other day, and there were almost 500 mass shootings in America alone this year. And it's so common now that people don't even blink when it happens. But there's so much evil going on in the world, but you're behind the scenes, you're in control of everything. I know that. And I pray that this is one step for some people to come out of, I guess, a delusion, and find what's really going on. And essentially, behind the scenes, there's angels, there's demons, but you're even closer than they are. And I pray that everybody would discover who you are and the amazing work that you've done for all of us. I know KJ knows that, and I know that too. So we bless your name and we exalt you and we praise you and we pray your kingdom comes in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, man. Thank you. That was beautiful and perfect. I mean, what's weird is while you were praying, while I was right there with you, I started thinking of that latest shooting they had in that church, and suddenly it occurred to me, there's no way, obviously, that's random. It was in white settlement around the same time that we have the militia rising up in Virginia, potentially against the government. I start seeing that stuff. I don't know what that means exactly, but I feel we're going to see more attacks on churches coming soon for sure. And that's a bummer, but that's all things I feel that have to play out, right? It's not something I want to see, but
I mean, there's a scripture that literally says, everyone who is in Christ Jesus executed at some point, right? So, it's not if, really, it's when. If you're really truly seeking him, then Satan's going to step up his game. And if he's actually controlling people from the inside, if you know what I mean, and they're unaware of it, those people are going to start agreeing with those spirits inside them without really understanding or knowing what they're doing. And that's why Jesus is really clear that we need to pray for our enemies and bless them, because forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. All these mass shooters, for example, or the terrorists, whatever, once upon a time, they were small innocent children that didn't know anything really, except they got shaped by their influences and circumstances, and evil people doing things to them, maybe, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep our focus on the Lord, and we don't have to fear these things if we actually know him and we're listening to him and obeying him, because he'll give you the words to say. He'll bring you through whatever you've got to go through. Like, a lot of people worry about the mark of the beast and trying to save up food and that kind of thing. At the end of the day, you just got to be ready to go whenever he calls you, and you need to know him that well as well, so you can really clearly hear his voice to do whatever it is. So there's nothing to fear, really, if you fear the Lord, that is. So
I love that, man. That's perfect. You're right. And he'll give you, some people are going to have to be warriors in these days. Some people are going to have to stand up, and I don't mean in a violent way, but we're going to have to protest things. You're going to have to get active. I hope that happens, that people stand up, and don't just wait on getting,
Sure.
zapped out or something. I know you're not saying that, but I see a lot of that attitude sometimes too. And, we may have to fight, some people are going to be here, whether there's a catching away or not, there's going to be people here. And because they talk about the beheadings and the Christians lost in the wilderness, and there'll be Christians that die by the sword, because there will be militia groups that fight. So it's going to be crazy,
There is that. I mean, I would say there's a fine balance, because if we do things in our own strength, if we kind of like take things upon our own shoulders and try to change things in our own way, it's not going to work. And actually, sometimes you often put people off like the truth rather than bring them to it.
Yeah,
that's what I've learned anyway, in my own walk. But yeah, there is that element of also being proactive and standing up for what is right as well. And but yeah, you have to be really sensitive to what's going on, and yeah, it's a very fine balance and a very difficult walk. And I know you must feel it, with such a kind of platform, with everybody listening to you and whatever. There's a kind of weight on your shoulders. I know there must.
Oh yeah,
for that.
yeah.
So
yeah, there was a time I
handled it well though.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I've struggled with, almost quitting so much over the last year and a half or so with all the stupid stuff on YouTube and everything else. But yeah, he's really carried me through. The people have carried me through. Again, people just being encouraging, praying, supporting the work as well. All that's been amazing. So yeah, that's even, again, just making the movie, looking at how it's so hard to find any conferences where people can meet and talk about these things. It just goes to show me that those of us that are left here, man, we need to go ahead and carry the flag, and see what we can do.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're the same as me. You don't go to a church particularly, do you?
No.
Not that I advocate not going to church. People find fellowship and hopefully, some churches are teaching good things. And at the end of the day, I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect church. But yeah, I mean, for me and you, I think, it's more like a spirituality more than a religion, if you know.
It is. I like, I'm in a situation where I don't feel I belong here ever since I left Central America, but I know there's a place for me one day when the time's right, but it's going to be far away in nature somewhere. And, not, maybe 20 miles away from a town or something, but that would be my perfect situation, and I'm sure you're probably the same way. I like spending a lot of time just reflecting on things and thinking and creating,
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm very creative. I've actually been, for the last 2 days, I've been working on some music like all day, the whole day, some new music. I'm going to Argentina in a couple of weeks, and I'm trying to get it done before then. So,
oh, good luck, man. Good.
Yeah.
And also,
Thank
I'm curious,
you. Yeah,
when
I'm
we
looking
talked,
forward.
are you a friend of Chris LaSala as well?
Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
I
Yeah.
thought so. I remember us talking. Yeah, man. I was actually house sitting for my cousin. I remember that. And it was just one of my live chat shows. I can't remember what the subject was, but yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, thanks for sticking around so long. Huh?
He gets a lot of bad press, but he's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've never had anything bad on him. I mean, I've even had him on some shows in the past. I haven't talked to him in a very long time. I should probably hit him up sometime, but yeah, man, that's great.
You should. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thanks again, man, for everything. Is anything else you wanted to share with us?
No. I really just, the Lord wanted me especially to kind of pray for your endeavor and to encourage you to keep going as well.
Man.
And apologies if I put a spanner in the works accidentally, and the flesh gets in the way sometimes, and we think we can talk in wisdom, and sometimes we don't, So.
Oh, no problem, man.
God bless you, and I hope we can catch up on Skype sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, and I'll talk to you later, man. Have a great New Year too, Brother Tris.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you soon. God bless you.
Bye-bye. All right, up next is Abnormal.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, man, nice to talk. As an Abnormal Truth?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you've been around a long time, too. How you doing?
I have, KJ. I'm a big fan, and I absolutely love this chat room. And anytime you're on, I'm there if I'm not at work, right?
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about, and this has been coming up a lot in the chat. I wanted to talk about how aliens are actually the fallen. What's up, Tamara? And I have some personal experience in that. And I don't know. I know I don't have a lot of time, and it was something that would take a lot. But I wanted to talk to you about it because of the videos that you have put out, especially the morphing UFOs.
Yeah, those are fascinating, man. In fact, I've mentioned this last night. I want to start making some longer form documentaries just for probably BitChute and Vimeo and my website, because I can not worry about copyright stuff. But man, I have found some amazing footage from Mexico this past week of these transformer UFOs in front of your eyes up in the sky. They're transforming into what look like ships and then into shapes and then into orbs. It's fantastic. So sorry, I just want to share that. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say that I already have you on BitChute. I've made my own thing, but I haven't uploaded anything yet.
Cool.
But I'm hoping, people have been asking, are you going to put that movie on there tomorrow?
Yeah. That's the thing is, so I don't know. It's like 3.5 hours long. I'm guessing BitChute allows that. So I'm going to try it. And then if not, I'll do it on Vimeo. And then if not, I'll just pay a fee on my website where I can upload a big file and just put it there, so I'll figure it out one way or the other. That's the next step. And then I'm done,
And I wanted to say everybody should find their favorite YouTubers, especially you, on something like BitChute, because it's getting rough out there.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean,
it's not fun.
I'm blessed I'm still there, but again, the biggest issue for me too is that it's kind of taken the fun out of creating for YouTube. I mean, that's been a big issue for a long time for me. It hurts to create for them, even though I love creating. That's why, again, this felt so good making this movie, man. I can't even tell you. This is the best I've felt in a long time making something, and it really showed me a lot. Go ahead.
I can't wait to see it, and I can tell. And I also think you should try to find some kind of outlet for it, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I want
conferences or what do you call it? A film festival. That's what you should do, bro.
Thanks, man. I'm doing that. I'm also, this may sound crazy, but I'm thinking of getting You can get free business cards made up or even cheap ones. I'm thinking of getting a bunch of made that say on one side, have you seen the scariest movie ever made? And on the back, just the link, you know, and just passing them out, dropping them around campus. I live near a college campus, you know, going to music venues, just stuff like that, just leaving them around, you know. I wanted to spread for people to, I even thought of maybe selling t-shirts. Finally, I've never wanted to do that in the past, but maybe do it now and get, you know, some kind of funding going, and then maybe get a billboard out here where I live and say, have you seen the scariest movie ever? And then show the, you know, link or something. I mean, I'm thinking big stuff, you know, we'll see. I don't know. But
that would work. That's
yeah,
catchy. It would, you know, everybody would go, what, you know,
right?
A lot of people would check that out. I just know. So real quick, I've studied the supernatural and the paranormal and etc. since I was 6. I read my first UFO book, and I really got deep into the alien UFO thing. I've been a moderator on voice chat for like 3 years. That was pretty much only abductees in there, and I was really I think at that time, and I was being taken also, by the way.
Oh, really?
And I can even tell you one if we have time.
I'm interested because I'll just throw this out real quick, and yeah, I'll give you all the time, man. But my best friend I grew up with, in fact, he's been texting me over here asking me what I'm doing. I've told him I'm staying in, but my best friend I grew up with, known him for years, very blue collar guy, good dude, you know, very down to earth. But not long ago, he had a lot to drink, and he told me that he'd been abducted, and these things have been coming into his room for years. So that's what I got into spiritual warfare with him, you know. But anyway, that's another story. But go ahead.
Well, I want to say immediately after saying that, I want to say that I was deceived, and I was probably the furthest away from God as you could get without totally discounting him back then. You know, anyway, so I know a lot of abduction stories, and I've heard hundreds and talked to hundreds of people with different experiences and stuff. And I got saved 3 years ago, and you're one of the people that helped me with that.
Oh man, pray. I'll glory to God. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No, so you definitely have a lot of people that you've helped wake up, and there's a few others too, you know, Call for an Uprising and people like that. Because after studying how Satanists were really out there and how it was all in movies and everything, and just this and that, it finally came and just hit me. And immediately after I was saved, I could see the B system. And I think as soon as I saw the B system, I was kind of on the way to being saved. Kept looking into the Bible more, because for decades I discounted the Bible. In those chat rooms, voice chat rooms I was in, the Bible always came up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so linked together. But KJ, I'm gonna be making a video soon on this topic. I have a list here of over 30 similarities in between what I believe is the fallen and aliens. There are a lot of similarities. I tend to call them the fallen because I believe a proper demon is a spirit from a Nephilim, because they had nowhere else to go, and there's biblical scripture to that. So I personally think these things are either made by the fallen, controlled by the fallen, or are the fallen that can actually do these abductions. That's just my theory. And so there are so many similarities that, and I might read off a few. If
I'm with it. Hey, Prometheus showed us everything. You know, Prometheus showed you the truth. And even these grays could very well just be biological suits for the spirits themselves. So yeah, man, it's interesting. Go ahead.
Well, I only watch movies now to see what they're duping people, you know,
right?
What they're pushing. That's the only interest I have in movie. And every movie and every music video I see, I either see mocking God or symbolism everywhere, because of guys like you with your channels. I've watched so many of them. You just kind of get to know what to look for, like the checkered floor. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, wow.
In fact, today they had the 2019 Price is Right special. I watched Price is Right. You know, it's just dumb, nice, happy entertainment, right? For the most part. But on the show, of course, at one point, they have a podium that's on a black and white checkered floor, and there's a light coming out of the podium, and it's Saturn, and it's purple. And it's just like, come on, guys, really? You know?
Yeah. And I hope you feel this way, but I am seeing a lot of people waking up. But I want to tell everybody, and because I've been looking for the truth all my life, and it took me a long time to get to it. I'm ashamed how long it took me, really. But yeah, it's you won't know the truth until you find Jesus. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was just my certain um, being saved, just kind of everything clicked because I looked into this stuff for so long. But if you're really looking for the truth, and I know most of you in here are, and I know a lot of you already have Jesus, but that is you're not awake until that happens. I thought I was awake back in 2000. It's just because I knew aliens were on the scene. You know what I mean? And now I know all that was just a deception. So I think we keep waking up. You know, anyway, the whole aliens, I think the important thing I want to tell everybody is if you see on TV aliens have landed, they may or may not do that, but that's a good way to have a one world order.
Yeah.
Big time, and join all the religions, and it seems like the key to it. And I don't even think they necessarily would have to use blue beam. They probably have the equipment to pull all that off anyway.
Yeah, it's in the Illuminati card game too. It's one of the last cards to play, you know.
Yeah,
so,
that card game's pretty wild.
It's amazing. It's lesser magic. You can even find videos of Steve Jackson talking about he had a meeting with the CIA before he made the game.
Right. Oh, and real quick, because I do have things that I just have to say while people are listening to me.
Go ahead.
So don't believe if aliens land, it's the fallen, or it may even be the Antichrist, and the first person that comes on the scene that everybody thinks is Jesus, and he's sent in the temple calling himself God. That is not the real Jesus, and most people are going to think he is. So number one, the first one that's real big, and he rules the world, and he says he's going to fix all the problems. That is not the real one. So also, I want to tell people that there is something called the CE4 Research Group, and they will give you a lot of information on how aliens are demons. But the most important thing is if you are being taken or messed with in this way, call on the name of Jesus, because it will get them off of you. And that's the only thing that's going to really stop it. And organizations like MUFON keep those cases out of the public eye for various reasons. But this CE4 research group, they have something called alienresistance.org. He found over 200 cases of people basically rebuking the aliens in Jesus's name, and they go away. Now I just want to talk about one of my abductions, because it led to something. So I can do the short version. So I was up late one night. I don't remember what year it was. I was playing World of Warcraft Burning Crusade, and that was a waste of 3 years of my life. But anyway, whatever year that was, I was living near Houston, and it must have been 2 o'clock in the morning. And I finally went to bed. Man, I gotta go, gotta get off this computer. So I went into my bedroom. I was living alone at the time, and I sat down on my bed, and I was thinking, should I watch some TV and fall asleep with the TV on, or just go to bed? And about as soon as I said that, I felt the most awful presence in my bedroom. And it every second that went by, it just felt worse and worse. And until I actually, when you're that scared, you should either be in fight or flight. Like I should have, and I couldn't fight it because I knew I couldn't see it. And so I should have ran out the house, you know what I mean? But I fell over on my right side, sitting up kind of cross-legged in bed, and I had not been to sleep yet. I had experiences before where I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just a dream. Well, I wasn't even asleep. And I passed out on my right side, just kind of slouched over. And I felt that electrical sense that I would get. It's weird. You can kind of tell an abduction was going to happen. And again, now I know it wasn't aliens, but there's this electrical charge that goes through your head and you become paralyzed and then you pretty much pass out. And then at some point you'll wake up and you may or not remember whether you've even been taken or not. Well, this was the time where I realized something was actually happening to me. I was not saved at the time, but and I want to mention earlier on in the week, I felt that I'd be falling asleep, and then I would feel that weird sensation. It's like a low electricity, going on in my head. Anyway, I woke up the next day and I remembered what happened. I don't remember being really taken this time. There was one where I saw aliens. This one I was totally blacked out. Woke up the next day and just remembered that bad feeling, horrible fear, dread. It made me pass out. Anyway, I woke up, took a shower, and I noticed like something below my right collarbone. And so when I got out of the shower, I looked at it and I had a scoop mark right there. And that was the second mark I've had after an experience like that. And this one was an oval, uh, several layers deep, like cookie mark, cookie cutter mark on me. And I've seen other people with that same mark on them. And Apache, I don't think it was an implant. I think it was more of a sample. But and that's how I knew, because this would have hurt. You can get a scratch on you or something and not really remember it.
That's really wild that you're.
Yeah.
I've read about that phenomenon for years. So wow, you're one of them, huh?
Yeah, and also I got another one during another experience, and it looked like a punch biopsy. Most of the time when you're looking up scoop marks, some of them will be these horrible, deep, scars. Mine all healed up really quick. You know what I'm saying? Like in a matter of 4 days, that little oval thing went away. But I had one that looked like a punch biopsy, something that doctors do. So I don't know if military was involved or what, because that's possible also.
Yeah, I've done punch biopsies. I was a medic in the Coast
Guard. So they look like a little. At first, I was like, "Was that a bug bite or something?"
It's like a little hole.
Yeah, a little crater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And but what's weird about both of those is I had a friend a week earlier from when I got the punch biopsy, and that's when I actually saw the aliens for a couple of seconds after a really weird night and feeling like I floated back on my bed. Next day, I noticed that. But a week before then, a friend of mine came in that was in that audio abductee chat room on Pal Talk. He showed me his, and I messed with him, and I said, "Oh, that's where they put the implant in, dude," because I didn't believe him. But then I got one, and they were both in the same place.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's like on the fold of the leg, like on the inside of your leg by your knee. Anyway, and if I thought about it, it would itch. Anyway, so 8 years goes by, KJ, and nothing happened to me. No weird nights or anything. And I got saved. And like the next day or the day after that, I start feeling that horrible feeling again. And I, with all the authority that I had as a newly born again Christian, I said, in the name of Jesus, I rebuked them. I don't even remember what I exactly said. You know what I mean? But then it stopped, KJ. it stopped. It didn't get far, you know what I mean? After like 3 or 4 seconds of seeing that or feeling that, I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus and Jesus' blood. I command you to leave.
Perfect.
And it stopped because I did not want that to happen again. It's not fun or cool.
Right. Yeah, man. That's I'm glad. You know, people would
hold
ask
on.
me. Go ahead.
Hold on, because I'll forget.
Okay.
Main point of that is that if they were aliens, guys, why would they care about the name of Jesus? If
Yep.
if the name of Jesus scares them away, why would aliens from another planet even care that you said Jesus? And there's just so many similarities. Like I said, I got a big list. I'm gonna make a video of it. I don't put out a lot of videos anymore, but I feel like I have to do this.
Yeah, then you should.
Yeah. Anyway, just thanks for letting me get that point out because I'm kind of tired and I probably would have forgot. But
that's all right.
If Jesus is scared of them, then they're not aliens.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And,
I agree.
So how did you realize that these UFOs, especially the shape-shifting ones, how did you realize that these were probably fallen angels? That they can look like anything they want from what I know.
Well, this is where it gets into, trying to describe the whole process I've been on for all these years and how I find this stuff and figure it out. So a lot of times I'll just kind of know something and feel something, and then I find out later there's people who've proven it to be true. You know what I mean? So that's what was with all the alien stuff and the shape shifting and all that and the lights. When I started looking at it a long time ago and it started coming to me, and then I started questioning, what do spirits look like? How would they look in our atmosphere? What are they made of? These ships, I went back to the 1950s and it stood out to me, the dumb programming they had in the 1950s on TV, sci-fi stuff about UFOs. It was always really corny characters, dumb people in monster suits, real goofy kind of dumbed down type stuff. Meanwhile, back in, was it like 1953, they had that sighting of like a dozen orbs, huge white orbs floating over Washington, D.C. There's pictures you can find online of it. Maybe it was 63, but it was a long time ago back then. So it's just another example of how they were lying about things, that these things were above our heads. And they had been. When you look at the cave drawings and all that, you see images of these things for all these years have been around, and the Nazca lines come to mind and things like this. So I don't know. I've mentioned before, I'm an INFP, and the way I process stuff, it's always connecting dots and making sense out of patterns. And there's even definitions of INFP personality traits like that I found many years later. I was like, oh, that's what I've been doing, so it's hard to exactly describe it all, but I always make sure that whatever I put my stamp on and say, this is something that I've prayed about it, I've researched it, not just going off feelings or vibes. If I do go off a feeling, I tell the people, I say, hey, look, this is a feeling. This is a theory. Like the idea, what if a UFO lands in Jerusalem and Jesus walks out? A character looks like Jesus. I can't say that's going to happen, but I know some stuff about, again, Ashtar Command, Ashtaroth, back in the Old Testament, the fallen angels, all this stuff still connected. The ancient gods are still there, and they can still play these tricks on us, and there's a lot of people that have been seeing this in dreams and visions. That's another thing.
Well, ancient aliens, that is doing a lot to talk people into that. It's like you said, if Jesus came down on a UFO and landed on the temple, you know what I mean? Or it's almost like a religion, KJ, because I was into it. And I was like, yeah, because I was always I'm into everything, but megaliths, megalithic structures have always been fascinating me because I went to Mexico and saw like a bunch of the pyramids like Chichen Itza and Tulum. And so that's always fascinated me. But that show is deceiving a lot of people. I can't stand to listen to anything from that TV station. I guess you know what I'm saying?
I do. I was just I watched one of their episodes on the Serpent Mound. Yeah. And there was some really solid information there. And then all of a sudden it went into, could this be where they planted the seeds of our creation? It's just like, come on, guys. Stop it with this.
it makes me sick, KJ.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's just bad. And anything that comes off of the H channel, I just don't know. And
Yeah.
please, nobody get your scriptural doctrine from the History Channel
No
either.
way. Tons of
Well, I mean,
actually literal Freemason symbolism in some of their commercials. I could point out,
yes.
people, you know.
Just that anyway. But I wanted to say real quick also that you showing that those type of UFOs, maybe fallen angels, really clicked with me, and I went up a few notches closer to being saved, because I always wondered, what kind of technology is that where the thing's just morphing? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Well, there's a whole thing about them about how they can't hold their shape for long, and this is why you'll see them in more simpler forms like the orbs. But then, like, I've seen some great footage from Brazil. I saw some from Mexico this week where you can see them transforming up there into all kinds of things. They look like solid objects 1 second, then it looks like a flying humanoid, and then it looks like an orb. I mean, it's fascinating.
Well, like you said earlier, though, those could either be fallen or they could be of God. You know what I mean? But a lot of UFO close encounter UFO kind of stories I've heard. Some of them get this really bad feeling from that object, and sometimes people don't. So that it's
complicated.
Yeah, it's very.
That's where discernment comes in, right? With everything, you got to have spiritual discernment on top of it.
Yeah. And but anyway, I'm glad you let me get all my thoughts out.
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that I'm kind of led to. I want everybody to know, because I'm in this particular situation that I proved it to myself that that's what they are, and I feel that I was really deceived, and it was almost like a religion to me. That in itself is the worst thing, right? I mean, but yeah, anyway, I love your work. I hope to see your movie tomorrow. I've got you on BitChute. Like I said, everybody should get you on BitChute, because YouTube is the censorship is something I never thought I would see in my lifetime. That's going on, man.
Not
I'm
like
45.
this.
Yeah, I'm 45, so this was unimaginable in the 80s.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being a friend so long, and for all the encouragement and all the stories, the knowledge, man. You're awesome. And we'll be checking out your videos too. So have a good New Year. All right.
All right. Bye, KJ. And bye, chat.
See you later, man. And hey, guys, for the rest, I'm not going to put the link back in. It's already almost 9:40. It's 9:42. So we've gone a while. I didn't want to do it too long. So I've got 4 guests left. I'm going to close out with Stephanie, Ron, Alex, and Taryn. And then that'll be it for the night. But I'll do another one of these soon. I promise you. I'm going to chill for a little bit on creating videos, probably for a week after making the movie. But I'll be doing more live shows and stuff. So we'll do another one. All right. So without further ado, Stephanie, thanks for waiting. How you doing?
Oh, fine. Thank you, KJ. It's an honor to be able to kind of chat with you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I've ran across your videos over the past, kind of off and on over the past year, and it wasn't until a family member really got me involved in the live chats and everything, and it's just really been amazing.
Oh, good. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that you bring out. My stepmom had been teaching me as a kid about the things about Hollywood and the movies, but she was very wise and discerning, but she wasn't in the business.
I was gonna ask, what her history was. That's a cool mom, if you ask me.
Yeah, she's my god mom. My birth mom is kept trying to keep me away from God, and God blessed me with this woman, and I didn't appreciate it until she was gone. But her lessons have stuck with me.
Good.
And she grew up in the South, not much education, but she was really into the Lord, and she was seeing these things. And and then over the years, and then once I started watching some of your videos, it's interesting that a lot of those lessons started to come back.
Oh, great, man. Well, that's really cool that, that Satan has a hive mind and they're creating a technological hive mind, but, God's got a hive mind through the Holy Spirit. That's the way I see it. So, these are the same knowledge that's been passed on forever. I believe that some of the apostles talked about all this stuff. They knew about the stuff, the signs and the symbols back then. It's been around forever. It's been controlling people forever as well, so that's great though. Thanks for sharing that. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that, that people are kind of speculating about how the Antichrist is going to come. But I had run across this video and I couldn't watch the whole thing. It just literally made me sick. But it was about doing DNA testing on the shot of Turin, that they got Jesus DNA. And I watched part of it, but something really stuck with me because, everybody's, the big thing is, the 23andMe. Oh, let's check our DNA. Let's check our DNA. And, one thing that God just really kept in my mind is Jesus has the lineage. It's written in the Bible. 100%. But the Antichrist, I believe, is going to come out with a DNA paper that says, "See, I am the Christ."
Ooh, that could be. That's interesting. And what also is crazy? You know who runs that that 23 DNA or whatever? Who runs that? It's
Let me guess, the Illuminati.
No, well, it's Susan Wojcicki, the lady that's the head of YouTube. It's her sister.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, again, all connected. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is very interesting.
And now Google wants to get into our medical records now. They want to, start their own medical type thing. It's, what I mean? It's just interesting how it all comes together, especially through Google, Well,
they're trying to connect with the, with the electronic and technology and everything. And, technology is the greatest thing. But, God is omnipotent. God is omniscient. He is everywhere. And the only way Satan can be that is through technology.
Yeah. The all-seeing eyes everywhere.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't see that. I'm one of those weird people that actually don't do Facebook because I just think it's a waste of time. But there's just too much information out there.
It's true.
And I don't want somebody somebody knowing what I had for dinner. If you want to know, ask me. I'll tell you.
It's also an envy creator. I think it constantly creates envy. It's broken up marriages. It's caused people to kill people and put it on Facebook. And I mean, it's just, there's a lot of really bad things going on there. That's for sure. I've always only used it as KJ, I have never used it personally or anything, but I can see how you can get wrapped up into it. I get how addicting this stuff is.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, you've got a different platform and you get great information out there. And
thanks.
As I was listening to a lot of the talks tonight, I just had a lot of things that just kind of came up. Oh yeah, that'd be great to talk about. That'd be great to talk about. But basically for me, it just basically boils down to, when let me sidetrack here for a minute.
Feel free. I always do it.
Oh yeah, I'm one of those type of people. I can carry on 5 different conversations.
Yeah.
But last night you touched on Harvey Milk.
You're making a destroyer for him. They're putting his name on a Navy destroyer. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing, have you ever watched that movie, Milk?
Sean Penn, right?
Yep.
I'm familiar with it, but I never watched it.
Okay. I hesitated on purchasing that movie, and I hung on to it. And one day I was just digging through looking for something, and I pulled it out, put it back, pulled it out, and I just heard God tell me it's time to watch it. So I prayed before I watched it. And that movie, you know, because I know you talk about pushing the gay agenda and everything. That movie lays out the basis of the gay agenda.
Wow. And just how does it put it out there?
It puts it out there as, oh, well, of course, you know, Harvey Milk, the great organizer and everything, but it lays it out that we're gonna be out there. We're gonna let them know we're here. We're gay
Right.
and we're proud. It's just if you sit there and watch the whole thing from beginning to end, you will go, aha. Your eyes will be, yeah. It's something that
it's so terrible. It's encouraging people's damnation. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And you said something last night that it's actually in the movie, but they kind of glossed over the fact that he liked younger boys.
Right. I'm sure they glossed over it. Yeah.
Oh, it totally glossed it over. But the actual basis of the movie, from the time he started standing up and organizing, they literally, it's almost word for word what you will find when if you have spoken to any gay person. Okay, what is this organization? It's highly organized.
And that's that's also why we have to keep an eye on. Well, they're trying to do legislation now, not to jump ahead of you, but so there's that. Also, a lot of these big Christian megachurch type pastors are starting to talk a lot about, they're using the language "love is love," the same thing they say. So, I can see that might be a way to transition more Christians into, they're right. It is all just about love,
But in the Bible, Jesus hated the sin and loved the sinner.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
And a lot of the churches and a lot of people are not. They're forgetting that.
There's a hateful spirit, right?
Oh yeah. As soon as you say love, love the sinner, hate the sin. Oh boy, it's on.
Yeah,
it's on. And there's just and another thing that had occurred to me is, a lot of these mass shootings the people are obviously demonically oppressed or infected, if you will.
Yeah, I think so.
Possessed, but it's a blood sacrifice.
Well, definitely. And even, the government control aspect. But like I just said a little bit ago, is that we just had that church shooting in White Settlement, right? And the guy, when you look at the video, I haven't heard any of the people that were there say it. They haven't shown a lot of that unless you guys have seen it. But it looked like on the video from far away that he was a black man. It looked like he had a black beard on and a black jacket. And then it was a white guy, it turns out, right? And it's in White Settlement. And, then on the same time, we have the battle for guns, right, taking place in Virginia, potentially here real soon. And we start seeing how these things are lining up. It's interesting,
Yeah, and what's even more interesting is that church shooting in Texas, several of the parishioners actually pulled their own guns and shot them.
That was some of the, I don't want, I watched the footage. I don't want to say that, I don't want to cheer it on, but that's really important footage. It's really important footage. Just goes to show you that's why it's important for us to have that right, obviously.
Well, it's in the Constitution. We have a right to bear arms. And regardless of, we have a right to protect our homes, our families, our properties.
Yeah.
We've got that right, that inalienable right.
We're going to have to start.
The ironic thing is the Constitution was written by a lot of people who are involved in the Illuminati, the Masons. Hello?
Yeah, that's where even there's arguments that all religions were built to be destroyed, even when Rome infiltrated Christianity or whatnot and changed everything around. And there's even arguments that many of these countries were built to be destroyed eventually, to all fall into one. And, you know, America, of course, has her role. The symbolism alone tells the tale, doesn't it?
Yeah, it most certainly does. It most certainly does. And, you know, a lot of the, and it's interesting that a lot of the, I don't even want to say alien UFO activity, but a lot of the strange activity in the skies, if you look at where it's happening, that is over places to where they've had traditionally the indigenous, or, and I don't even want to say the indigenous people, but the uh, the early settlements there were into demonic worship and were into worshiping other gods and things like that.
Oh yeah, that's why there's always so much amazing footage. I think in Mexico and South America in general, I'm always looking for this stuff, and it's almost always. Now I find stuff everywhere. There's things all happening all around the world now, but man, some of the most, and like, you know, the whole flying humanoid thing. It's fascinating. Tons of footage from down there, and I think a lot of that's with witchcraft and whatnot. There was an amazing video, and I have it on my website. Somebody shot in South Africa of what I believe is an actual dog man, you know, and this was probably something. Yeah, this is probably something, because there's a lot of witchcraft in that area they're talking about as well. So this is probably something that was perhaps conjured up, perhaps somebody's under a curse. But if you watch this, guys, it's on my website, but just try to find it. Good luck going into YouTube. As I told you, maybe try DuckDuckGo, Dogman South Africa, you know, paranormal, or something like that. Then put YouTube and then go. And you should find some links. Maybe you can look it on my website, but I can't remember what I titled the video. Really interesting footage. You know, I mean, again, I'm always looking at this stuff. I don't show you all everything, but I show you the stuff I think's the best. Some of you may remember the all black looking creature at the cemetery digging a hole. Maybe you remember that one. It was one of my favorites. But this is a good one. Again, there you go, Stephanie. See, I ramble on too. I just kind of bounce around, but
that's okay. That's okay.
But go ahead.
You know, but we do, you know, and I just kind of want to throw it out there that as the times are getting closer, it is more important for us to remain in prayer and to remain in battle. You know, I had a incident at work. There's a girl that I work with who's into witchcraft, and you know, and I've come into work and I've known that, you know, I just feel the spirit. So I go through my work before anybody else gets there, and I'm pleading the blood of Jesus, praying through everything. And you know, I walked the property and found a couple of her little altars. I tore it down, applied the blood of Jesus over it. And later that day, there was a spiritual entity that actually slammed my finger in a door.
Wow.
There was I could feel the door being pushed shut and held shut, and I couldn't open the door. And I've got this nasty scar on my finger. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of times in warfare you hear, yeah, just tell Satan to talk to the hand. It's like, yes, I'm talking to I tell Satan to talk to the hand right now, because I got the blood of Jesus on my hand, you know. I've got my battle scars. I got my battle scars, and I just plead the blood of Jesus over it.
That's good.
You know, but just really be, you know, I do caution everybody, you know, it's just to be very wise, very discerning, and ready for battle in this time.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. Yeah. And thank you. And still, is there anything else you wanted to share with us on that note?
No, actually, I'm going to actually get off and let somebody else have a turn. But, well, I got to be polite about it.
No, that's all right. You did great. It was good info, good story too. Thank you.
Thank you. And, you know, and keep up the good work. Don't be discouraged. You know, when the truth goes out, when anybody speaks the truth, and I've had this happen in my life, people don't want to hear the truth. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They're going to call you crazy. I've been called crazy. I've been called delusional. I've been called living in an alternate world, but only God has kept me sane. I don't know about anybody else.
No, I'm right there with you. My struggle has always been that the nature of my personality and everything and just who I am. I'm very sensitive because I immediately internalize everything and then I work my way out of it. That's the way I've always processed. So that's why I've always had to be careful with getting into comments and reading stuff. And especially when things get real crazy, I'll do a video that's maybe real controversial for whatever reason. And it's just comment after comment of bad stuff. So, you know, same thing. And you'll take, I've learned, I've gotten better, but I'd carry it with me sometimes. I'd go for a couple days still angry over some rando person on the internet that I've never met and is probably either being paid to do this or thinks they're in competition with me or is just a butthole, you know, or something.
Or is
a demon.
Trolling to attack and discourage.
Right. You know, something like that. So again, I've had to learn throughout the years to let a lot of stuff go, not focus on that as much, realize the blessing of the great audience I have, the fact I'm still around here. I still have a platform. I've got wonderful Patreon supporters, PayPal supporters. I can't even thank them enough. And, you know, just great people who are prayer warriors and encouragers and share my work. You know, I mean, it's just, I'm blessed, man. So y'all are great. Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, and I'm the same way. And it's definitely been a process to let those kind of things go, but that's their problem, not yours.
Yep, that's true. Thank you.
All right, KJ. God bless you and have a great night.
Hey, thanks. Nice talking to you. Have a great year, and I'll talk to you later. All right. Thank you, Ron, for waiting. Alex and Taryn will be next. Ron, how you doing, man?
Hey, what?
It's nice to see you, sir.
Can you hear me?
There you go. I lost you for a second. Go ahead.
What's up, KJ?
Hey, not much, man. Hey, thank you. You're another one that's been around for a long time, man. I appreciate you being a friend so long.
Yeah, I've been here for a minute.
You sure have. How's everything going for you? How's life?
Not too bad. I wanted to talk to you when you did your Halloween show, when you had tell me your scary stories.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
It was hard to get through though because it was so long.
I know, man. That was epic. That's the longest show I've ever done, but I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to do things like that just for me to keep it fresh, but also just to keep you guys on your toes. You know, we got to keep it interesting. I always keep that in mind with everything I do. Always keep it interesting, at least, you know, tell the truth, show things that are important, but keep it interesting, you know, keep them on their toes. I'm not trying to build myself up here, but I like to, you know, do stuff like that. Keep it fun. I hope it's working.
Yeah, but I wanted to share at that time, but my internet was being screwy. I worked at a haunted school.
Oh, that sounds great. What happened?
It was usually when it was either I was just alone or with one other person and something weird would happen. Had doors slamming, furniture moving on their own when I was in a different level of the building. I would honestly like to do a video of interviews with staff from around the school to just illustrate my point. It's like I'm not crazy.
Was there any history that may have caused it to be haunted? Was it near an Indian burial ground, or were there deaths there or anything like that?
There was. Well, it's kind of a ghost town. There's like 6 kids that attend the school, and but back in the early 1900s, it was a big mining town. But once everything got stripped out, you know, it just kind of died off. And
yeah, I've seen a lot of towns like that. I'm in the Midwest. My mom's from a town that, you know, she's got stories where even as a little girl in the town they were actually picking cotton and putting it in wagons and taking it back to their homes and stuff. I mean, hardcore Little House in the Prairies type stuff, it seems like. But some of those towns don't even exist anymore. You can drive by and maybe see a couple of old barns still standing, but that's about it. So anyway, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Well, this was Copper Town. Like, it was just all mining. And, well, there was a massacre that no one wants to talk about. A bunch of immigrants. I don't even know if I want to say ethnicity or anything, you know. Don't want to get you stricken off YouTube.
Yeah,
but,
it's all right.
You know, we were in Michigan, and about 16 people got killed off and just dumped in the woods.
Was there anybody ever caught for it?
No, because things were different back then, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm from a state where Tulsa was a big event like that. You ever heard about the Tulsa riots in Oklahoma? That's just really tragic event. That just bad news, man. Anyway, you can look that up if you like, folks. Go ahead. Don't let me sidetrack you.
Things have happened like that across the nation, you know. It's we kill each other for paper.
Right.
You know? But I think there's something in that school that's it's never hurt anybody, but it's scared a lot of people that work there. Like I've really thought about interviewing the lunch lady that works there, the teacher and that, and it's kind of insane. Everybody's had something strange happen to them there.
You should do that. That sounds like it'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's been a documentary on it before on Winona, Michigan. It used to be on YouTube. I don't know if it still is, but
I wouldn't bet on it.
Check it out. But the teacher that works there now, he recently put out a book called "From Do to God."
Interesting.
And it's on Amazon. And I encourage people to look at that because people say they like science instead of religion. You know, and this is a scientific look that proves religion.
Interesting. What's it called again?
From Do to God.
All right.
You know, G-O.
Yeah, interesting. We'll look that up, man.
It's pretty interesting. And I don't mean to waste your time, but if I just say one
That's all right. Go ahead.
no, just you know, people think you're nuts if you thought about paranormal activity, and I think
it's great.
Episodes that would blow your mind, you know, like
yeah, give me one. You know, I think that paranormal is super important, not to fall prey to it, you know, or any deceiving spirits, but it's been a way I've used personally for years to help wake people up to at least that there's another dimension out there. Because not every, you know, some people don't even believe in God at all. We forget that. So I'm always thinking about those people too. sometimes the best way to wake some of those people up or to draw them into your more spiritually natured type work and symbols and stuff is to show them some amazing paranormal footage or UFO footage or something cool or crazy. You know what I mean? It's always been a tool I've used myself, but I'm fascinated with it. I grew up on Kolchak the Night Stalker, the X-Files, Fringe, all that stuff. So go ahead.
Well, I used to be really like nihilistic, I guess you'd say. After my best friend, my brother, died when I was like 18, and I didn't believe in nothing. It's like I thought this was all a joke, and then I guess sometimes the darkness can show you the light, and I fell asleep one night, and I've had this picture hanging over my bedroom since I was a kid, and it has the Lord's Prayer. And at the time, I didn't believe in any of that. But I dealt with an episode of sleep paralysis, and a black squirrel with demon eyes crawled through the wall underneath the picture, lifted it up, crawled through the wall, and was chattering in my face, and I couldn't move.
How long ago did that happen?
Years ago.
Did you ever have to deal with anything like that again?
Yeah, there was one time where I saw a shadow hand crawling alongside my wall, and I had autoplay actually on YouTube going, and I wasn't listening to anything related to it, but Alex Jones was yelling at me. You know how crazy he gets.
Oh yeah. I miss watching those just for the comic effect.
And I got a shadow hand crawling against me. I got Alex Jones, the Loveless, and it just got kind of crazy. All right, I know there's people waiting. I don't want to waste your time. I know I'm babbling.
No, you're great, Ron. It was nice meeting you. Thanks for the stories. All very interesting stuff. And have a great new year. Thanks for being a friend on here so long as well.
Oh, yeah, man. Love all you guys, man.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks, Ron. All right, next up, we got Alex. Alex, thanks for waiting so long. Or no, that's not Alex. Wait a second. This moves pretty quick. My bad. Sorry. There you go, Alex. Can you hear me?
Hey, KJ.
I can't hear you. Let me see here. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. KJ, how you doing?
That's better.
All right.
Hey, I'm great, man. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, it's no problem. I just enjoyed listening to some of these guys' stories. It's I've had some experiences myself. So just want to say that me and my wife really appreciate your show. It's the Christian viewpoint and the way that you look at things that really we look forward to, because there's a lot of truther channels and people out there, but they just don't see it from the spiritual Christian viewpoint like we do. And I just appreciate the work you do.
Man, thanks. And thanks for bearing with me, because I sometimes am a bit concerned that I could come off a little too edgy sometimes for, other followers of Christ. But I've just, I don't think I'm too bad about things, and I just have to roll with it. So I appreciate, that you guys are cool with me, and you see the good at least there. So thank you. Thanks. You and your wife.
And my wife wanted me to tell you that she would love it if you would make a Chubbs t-shirt, because she's in love with Chubbs or whatever. So she would like it make a Chubbs t-shirt.
You know what's funny is here's one I'll throw at you. I've actually got an idea, and I didn't want to do t-shirts before, but now that I'm putting the movie out, it'll be a good way to advertise it and just get eyes on it. So a while back, I was talking to a friend that's an artist. And I was telling her that I thought it'd be cool to do a shirt, a Chubbs shirt, where he's sitting up, kind of on his butt and his fat belly's hanging over. He's looking at a snow globe with the Earth in the middle, and it'll just say Chubbs hates global warming hoax, something like that. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm sure me and my wife will probably definitely get in on that one.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
I did want to touch on something because it blew my mind last night, because this is something I've been looking into for a little while. Not a lot of shows have really touched on it. You've brought it up the other night on your last live show, and it's the mysterious trumpet sounds in the sky. And what it actually is, what I truly believe what it actually is, it's not anything supernatural, but it's actually in regards to biblical scripture. It's in Revelation chapter 6 and verses 15 through 17. And it says in the King James, it says, "And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man themselves, in the dens, and in the rocks, and in the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" And what I believe this is in reference to is what they're building underground. And I'm pretty sure as well as I do, that they're building labyrinths and gigantic cities underground to be able to hide from whatever catastrophe that they know is coming, whether it be the Lord himself or something that they've created. And what they use are these gigantic underground boring machines. And if you watch the videos, if you used to watch the videos, there's a German company and a few other companies that actually had filmed their boring machines going through the tunnel, and the sounds that it makes is identical, and it's so loud and it's at such a high pitch that it resonates in the atmosphere, and you can hear it from miles away, this thing boring through the rock. And it's the sounds of those trumpets. And what I believe
that connects to the mysterious booms underground too.
Exactly. And here's the thing, KJ. I mean, this is what blew my mind last night, because as soon as you brought it up, I rushed to go look for the video, which I had watched about a month ago, and I showed my wife, because me and her are always looking into this kind of stuff. And they have scrubbed every single video. You cannot find a single video anywhere online, not on BitChute, not on YouTube, where that sound is there anymore. They completely covered it. They have scrubbed the sound, and I believe because people were starting to catch on to what was going on. So I don't know if you have seen the videos, or if you've looked into it, or if you know if there's any original video of them out there. And it blew my mind, because I didn't think they even caught on to what they were allowing out there. I mean, the information is there, but the sound that they make, you'll hear it worldwide. You hear it in Jerusalem, you'll hear them here in America, and it's just something that people need to recognize, that they're building underground to hide from the wrath of God.
Yeah, man, that is great. I'm glad because I showed that video last night. And again, I admit, I speculate. It's interesting. I think it could be the trumpets and everything, but that makes much more sense. And I like that. It's something I could hold on to and look into. I'm going to spend tomorrow, once I'm done with some family stuff, I'm going to go look up some more fun stuff, because like I said, I'm going to start working on some documentary ideas too. But that's going to be one I'll look into, man, because that ties right in. All that happened around the same time, the mysterious booms around the world, right? So it's all kind of connected, it seems.
Exactly. And I believe the trump of God is something that's going to be so loud and so immense that it would be heard the same time on the world.
And obvious too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, the day of the Lord and the day of Jesus Christ, for us believers, it's the day of Jesus Christ. For those who come under the wrath of God, it'll be the day of the Lord. And, I appreciate what you're doing, because the way that you wake people up is to give them spiritual eyes. it's almost like Paul on the road to Damascus. He had his fleshly eyes, and what Jesus had to do was blind him and give him the spiritual eyes to see what he wasn't seeing through his flesh. And what you do is you're opening people's eyes from the spiritual angle. You can, I mean, I started watching Alex Jones and all that, and he really woke me up to the human side of the New World Order. But once I got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, I was able to see really what God's trying to show all of his believers, that we need to be vigilant and to look and to listen and watch. And so many people get caught up in their everyday life going to work. It seems as though most of us get so strung out and having to go to work and going through the routine that we kind of just put our fleshly eyes and our ears back on, and we don't tune in and tune in to what the Lord is trying to show us. So what you do is you just keep us awake. And even believers and people that are in the know, you touch on things that most other truther channels don't touch on, and do it in a intellectual and poignant way. So I appreciate the work you do, KJ. I really do.
Man, thank you. What can I say, man? I mean, thank you very much for that. And at the same time, Alex Jones woke me up. The Bohemian Grove stuff first woke. I still live in LA, and that all woke me up big time. And I did my searching and stuff. But just like you, man, throughout the years, I became what I was looking for. Is what happened, because I kept looking for somebody who was reasonable and who was knowledgeable on things, at least showed me things I didn't know, but was also calm about it, that wasn't scaring the crap out of me. Because Alex Jones, I mean, I was really scared there for that first year. When I woke up, I was really scared. I thought it was about to end at any moment,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we can't have that. So thank you. I've consciously have tried that. I'm glad it's having an effect, and I want to keep just being real and being this way, and hopefully it'll even reach new, younger people coming up, and they'll start putting their voice out there and doing it. And we've got to try to keep it alive, because this whole thing, if you want to call it a movement, is really dying out digitally, and it's crazy. It really is crazy.
And I mean, we're going to be praying for you. You're regularly in our prayers in our church, and
thank you so much.
Voices like yours are going to start being, hindered, especially on social media platforms. So as long as you continue to put the word out, as long as you can, is really going to help people, because there will come a time when you're going to have to really search for channels and voices like yours. And, I would just like to pray. I know somebody else had prayed, but I just want to
please do
pray over before I go. And Jesus, I pray that you protect not only KJ, but also his listeners and all your followers who are tuning in right now. We're in a spiritual battle, and the enemy is trying to keep us distracted and focused on things that have nothing to do with God. We're focused on our lives, and I pray that you protect KJ and his home and his body, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. I pray you put a hedge of protection around his home, and any spiritual attack that comes against him, Lord, I pray that you place an angel there to guard his home and to guard his mind, and whatever may try to visit him, or whatever's sent by the enemy to try to distract or hinder him from doing his work. I pray that you destroy that spirit, Lord, and protect us listeners too, and protect your people, Lord. And I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Man, thank you so much, Alex. Thank you. And hey, man, just nice meeting you too. Wonderful talking with you. Say hi to your family for me, and thank you for your church praying for me. And you're awesome, man. Thank you.
All right, KJ.
All right, bye. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys, and now we got Taryn as the last guest this evening. Taryn, how you doing?
Hi, KJ.
Hey, thanks so much for your patience. It's nice to talk to you. Also, thanks for being a moderator and being a friend on here so long as well.
Love you so much. And just everyone out there in the chat, just prayers to everybody. Things are crazy right now.
yeah, they sure are.
But it's amazing as well, like it's great. It's a blessing and a curse, I think, to live in this time.
Yeah.
But to have people like you and to, help us in this time, it's amazing. So anyway,
well, thank you.
here I go again. Like, just, I don't know. KJ, just so excited to hear about the next scariest movie ever. Like,
thanks.
for real.
I'm really excited to get it out there.
It's gonna be epic.
I hope so. I just feel like I said, I've done my bit, and now hopefully, you know, it'll get out there to the people, and not even hopefully, it will. You know,
it is going to, like,
it'll get to the people it needs to.
Yeah. I know it is going to. Like, I just feel it.
Well, thank you. And what about you? What are your big plans for 2020? Any big plans? Any big do you believe in making these promises, these New Year's promises?
I don't really believe in all that.
Yeah, me either.
Yes, but I just, first of all, the community here is amazing. I just want to shout out to Tamara and to Mia and to Effie and to all the amazing moderators. You guys, you girls, and you men, kick ass. I'm sorry.
They are amazing,
Like,
aren't they?
really.
Thank you for that. I should probably do that more often. Now I feel bad. Thanks.
Don't feel bad, KJ. You're amazing. I mean, what the hell? Like, we're all here because of you. And not because of you, but like, because you're, I mean, whatever.
Thank you. So what else is on your mind? You just want to drop in and say hi and do some shout outs? That's okay too.
I don't know, like, basically, just a lot of things have been happening in my life. So, all right, KJ, let me just tell you about something.
Break it down.
So, I know that you and Jonathan Kleck, like, you know, you guys are friends. Let me tell you something. Okay, there's been like a huge revelation for me coming to Christ. Like, it's a big deal. Like, like, I was from witchcraft, and like,
okay.
not like witchcraft, but like not even knowing that I was like bad in general.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, what's happening? And I'm like, okay.
It's easy to fall into that stuff. It's very alluring, you know, at first.
Yeah, totally. And just like bad. Like, okay, so oh my God, my cat's coming here. So her name's Luna, and I know it's the moon, but we adopted her. Like, yeah, we adopted her, KJ. She is, but like, we did not name her Luna. She came to us, and her name was Luna, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and especially because, okay, Luna, the band.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
You know Luna too? Yeah, well, I can't remember his name, but he also did some work with
7 Steps to Satan.
I don't remember that one. 7 Steps to Satan. What was that one about?
It's, yeah, basically. And
are they into that?
I don't really know, but
I hope not. He's got a great voice and
amazing voice.
He has a girlfriend. I don't know if they're still together, but she was the voice for some animated character, but they did some albums together, and that's just really some incredible singing there. But I always hate
yeah, and they did an awesome song as well. It was I'm trying to remember. Wow. It was really cool. Something ones, like, man, it was really cool. It was like really indie, like really fun, just like chill, like less fave kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, my favorite kind of music's the stuff that's hard to find anyway, usually.
Yeah, like underground kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I like it.
But anyway, Anyway, am I getting weird? I'm sorry.
No, you're the last guest, so you could do whatever you want.
Oh my God, I'm getting so weird. That is
It's
so
New Year's
bad. I'm
Eve.
sorry.
No, it's all right.
I know.
I'm still an hour and a half away on my end from the actual New Year's. I'm just going to watch it on TV. My friend was trying to get me to come out, but I live kind of out in the country, and I know they're having
Me
roadblocks and
too.
stuff, so I don't want to even deal with roadblocks and
There's no point.
Yeah, and I don't even really like drinking. I'll go out every now and then, but I just anyway. So there you go. There you have it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh God, I sucked. I was like, Happy New Year, everybody. I was the worst guest ever.
No, not at all. I'm just playing around. No, you're doing fine. We're just hanging out and talking, man. It's fine, Taryn. We've been around for a long time. Like I said, you're a friend here and a moderator, and just giving you a chance to hang out and chat.
But first, okay, so I have to ask you guys.
Okay.
I am super jealous of like KJ's like chat. Like, all right, you guys. Okay, first of all.
Oh boy.
And
wait for it.
Oh my God, am I being weird? I'm sorry.
No,
I am. Oh God. I should stop. Okay.
No, it's fine.
No, just tell me. Just say, please stop.
No, I think this is a perfect way to end the show. I think it's perfect, man. This is good.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, there you go. Happy New Year, everybody. Hey, but for real, man. Everybody in the audience, Happy New Year to you guys. And I don't know, everyone's in different time zones, but maybe you'll get a chance to watch the ball drop. Maybe some of you guys are going to go out and do something. If you do, be safe and be careful doing that.
This is the worst. This is like the fail. I'm sorry. Like, my bad.
No, you're fine.
No, it was really bad.
No, in fact,
you know what? I knew I was so bad because like I just broke up with my fucking boyfriend for like 10 fucking years, and like I've come to Christ, and like I got drunk as shit tonight, and I fucked up. Like I fucked up for real.
Well, look,
yeah, I did.
No, I mean,
I did for real.
That's okay. I mean, I understand, wanting to, drown your sorrows. We've all done stuff like that. No worries on that. But, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your situation. It'll be tomorrow, it'll just keep getting better. It'll, you'll figure it out, whatever it is. But,
You know what's cool about you, KJ?
What's that?
You like keep it fucking real. You're like, I don't. But you do. You don't just try. You do.
Ah, shucks. Well, I appreciate it. And hey, for real, and I wish you the best on your situation, Taryn. Hang in there. All right. You're a good gal, and no worries. All right. So thank you for joining though, and thanks for hanging out and chatting with me. You did fine, Taryn. Don't feel bad. All right. I appreciate you hanging out and talking with us.
The worst ever.
Stop it. No, it's actually perfect. It's a perfect ending for New Year's Eve.
For the imperfect.
So, in fact, you can stay with me if you want. I want to say a little prayer here too at the very end. You want to hang out with me here?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Hey guys, really, I want to say a little prayer here real quick and just say, Heavenly Father, thanks so much once again for this great community. Thanks for each one of these individuals that is on the show tonight. Awesome people, awesome stories, awesome knowledge, just good people and a good group. Lord, please continue with all of us. Help us just to keep moving forward. We see the agenda in this world unfolding before our very eyes, and it seems to be accelerating in some ways. So, whatever our mission is, whatever you have for each one of us individuals to do, Father, please just guide us, help us to get there and figure it out and do it for you, and do it without fear. Live a life without fear, no matter what happens, because we don't know the day or the time. And thanks for helping us make it through this year, Father. Be with us once again through this 2020. And I love you. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, guys. Hey, you know what? Y'all are awesome. I'm going to be still doing some shows over the next week or so, maybe not making videos, but you'll have the movie up tomorrow. I'm going to check it out tonight for a little bit before New Year's, make sure everything's looking tight. Thanks to you all so much for being here. Thanks to all the guests, and I'll talk to you soon. Y'all have a safe New Year's. All right. Take care. Thanks.